go. And TP Game, thank you for 2 bits. How's my day? Pretty good. Pretty good. Hope you guys are all having a great day. Welcome back to the letter. Last time we were playing as Anna. And we found out how big of a douche canoe our husband Luke is. So without further ado, let's jump back into the messed up life of Anna. This doesn't seem right. Alright, this is where we left off. How was jury duty? Jury duty was crap. Anywho, again, welcome everybody back to the letter. I hope you all having a good day. Last time in the letter we played as we found out more backstory about Anna and how she really wants kids, that her parents died when she was young, and that's how she, through her work of college, it's how she met Luke. Luke owns his own company. It mentions that they have hotels. So I'm guessing they own a string of hotels. What else did we learn about her? Found out that her husband Luke is a big douche canoe. Bigger than usual. I guess what we could do is just go to the journal. What day is it today in the game? Hannah and Marianne were discussing the mansion's finishing touches before the housewarming party. Oh yeah, that's right, we have the housewarming party today. So, let's go ahead. The scene outside the parlor is a great, organized mess. Aside from our household help, we hired the service of the temp agency, which provides staff for Wright Enterprises in the hospital sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. It's already happening, man. It is already happening. I'm gonna try really hard not to yawn, but I'm running on 4 hours of sleep today. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and their staff captains move about in droves, carrying crockery and serverware good for several dozen people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johannes, looking like scared children as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. To pursue the stocks, to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
Schnell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails are for the dishes.
Oh my god, Johannes. The string quartet readies up to play for the evening, tuning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floral decor worth thousands fill vases, wreaths, and baskets while petals are scattered along the driveway up front. Ooh. A nice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. Why a reindeer? It's the fall. It is followed by that's a simple cake. Okay. It is followed by a simple cake.
Honey.
McCready, thank you for the 2 months in a row, dude. Keep being an amazing nugget, Pat. Thank you so much, McCready. I really appreciate the 2 months. Anyway, just a 5-tier white chiffon one with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and a light dusting of edible gold leaf. Okay. Simple, you know. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will attend to all of this, I find myself to focus or care for any of it. To begin, thank you for 3 bits, dude. I still have our discussion running in my mind, and looking at all of this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke would want to have for the party. I had wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering with only a selected few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. Now, before we go any further, Luke is currently not here. For some reason, when we woke this morning, he was gone. The night previous, we approached him again with the topic of having kids. And this morning, for some reason, he's just gone. I did not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
And I think it's their anniversary party. I think that's the party she's throwing. The entire thing screamed Luke Wright, douche canoe. And I can't help but add another question to my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Anna Evans? McCready, thank you for the 3 bits, dude. Hope you have a great night. I used to be my own woman who made her own name, her own career, and her own decisions. Sure, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me, just because my father owned the company. I insisted that I start at the bottom so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was a calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaisons and public relations, supervision of staff, and, well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to others, looked for praise for anyone who would give it, however fleeting it was. And Luke, oh Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw for me, Anna Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married, where we talked about everything and anything. From big things like business, society, and philosophy, to the little things, such as what we had for breakfast, or whether we like cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands preferred wives who were docile and subordinate. A woman who will always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children and to take care of them in his absence. They said I have no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society, but I listened. Before I can fall further into this introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him.
Probably.
Open the doors then. We mustn't hurry.
Knucklehead, thank you for the 80 bits. How you doing? Cars line up the driveway, peppering the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand Tours, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle cars or two. Convertibles, grand saloons, and other luxury cars can be seen being parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it was too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxborn. So far, who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays.
Welcome everyone. Please make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange sunshine we are experiencing before gloomy skies inevitably return. And just think of the 4 bits. She's better off without Luke. Yeah, I agree. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here whether through convenience or necessity. However, there are also few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society. Such as that young man with his oriental hair, ignorant of the looks he receives from women and men alike. The hell is Ash doing here?
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Shirley? Oh, that's right, he has a sports car. But why is Becca here? Or that rose-haired woman talking on the phone while she looks unsure of why she's here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
Oh, it's Zach. Zach probably brought them. I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the other media crew with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah.
Zach's like, yeah, I've been here. It's cool. I like this place.
Yeah, and the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
The voice acting is still like my amazing stuff for this game. I had invited Father Norman too. It's the least I can do after he blessed the mansion on my request. Oh! They already blessed the house. I am so glad I didn't do that. Aside from my small donation to the church, of course. Small. Okay. McCready, thank you for the 50 bits. Turns out I don't have time to stay, so have some more bits. Thank you. And also, Gar, you could take that jury duty notice of yours and you can go wake up at 6 in the morning and go sit in a room for 2 hours. I'm not doing it again. But the poor man had taken ill and went through a nervous breakdown of some sort the other day. And then there's douche canoe number 2. There are people like the chief inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see.
My god. Becca, thank you for the 5 bits. Why is Becca here? Well, I'm sorry, I wanted to hang out. I'll just leave. Sorry, Becca.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee.
That's
Doctors
true.
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies.
Yeah, I don't know why she wouldn't want to be around you.
It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
All you men do is get drunk and smoke cigars and say, oh, I've got a bigger car and more expensive. Whose dick is bigger contest? Yeah. Yeah, shut up.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
Ha ha ha. Maybe the hitman we sent after him finally got to him.
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing.
I can tell if someone's a rude asshole.
Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal. You've hidden his body.
Yep, he's in the cellar. If all that would have been a much better outcome than hiring a hitman. A lot cheaper, too.
I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches.
My god.
Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
That's true.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead.
I can say I wouldn't mind if he was dead. It wouldn't bother me. I don't like him. I really don't. You guys saw it last time. You don't. I'm not gonna say what you like or don't like, but I don't like him.
The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Shell's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out.
Darn.
Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I blame your voice or your weird facial hair that's been glued to your face. God, I'm an asshole.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby? Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Why the fuck are you here? Haven't mentioned how I don't trust him, no matter how hard I try to do so. At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings, such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversations or merely shake hands and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes by, the rest of the stragglers and I adjoin the ballroom. I wanted to see a thing.
I guess still no plans for a baby. Still no plans for I guess still no plans for a baby.
Yeah. I didn't know if that would work. I'm glad it does. Okay. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend now. Oh, I like just duties. God. Ooh, party! Chad, who wants to come to a party? People on YouTube, come to the party. Hosting parties is always the same. Have you guys ever been to a super fancy party like this? Who's been to like one of these fancy parties? I want to go to a fancy party. I wouldn't even drink. Like I hate alcohol. Like I drink at social occasions, but like I prefer just having a soda. And going to a fancy party would be lots of fun. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or small it is. You make sure your guests are well fed, have good company, and have a really big TV to play video games on. Am I right? I think I'm right. So, when my openings remarks are done, when the band has started to play, and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I am pulled aside. For a while, I stay with a small group and entertain them before excusing myself. And when they're not watching me, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more but to make music. One of our hotel managers, okay, so they do own hotels, worry about the stolen belongings of one of his patrons, a failing in security which should be brought up to higher authority soon. Our mayor, well, his cat died. Well then, there's that rose-haired woman again. It is hard not to notice her with her distinctive looks. She also lacks the grace that the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance and the air she exudes instead are strong and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approached, intrigued, although it is no great mystery what occupies her own attention, though the glances she keeps sending towards the boy with the oriental hair. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand beside her, pretending that I am there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
McCready, thank you for the 5 bits, dude.
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up. Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do not speak anything. But I do not speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it is a wonder he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend then? Because that would explain those rejections.
Man, Anna is like super just into everybody's face.
Thank you for subscribing, honey.
Ellen, thank you for the 3 months. I really appreciate that. 3 months seem to fly by. I've been here longer, but didn't know about Prime until 3 months ago. Love all y'all's beautiful faces, Nuggets. Thank you so much, Ellen. I don't think if she went to go dancing with other guys, it would be like anything against Luke. I mean, it's her party. Luke's not there. And dancing can be flirtatious, but I don't know. We know Anna is kind of a big flirt. This is another thing that I love. It's just the artwork on this game. It's really, really pretty. I like it. In all my life, I've never seen a face grow red so fast. The shade of her hair did not help as well. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
And why not?
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed.
Mm-hmm.
Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
Yeah, you have. You're looking at him right now. See, that's the weird thing about Anna, I feel, is when she's not gossiping, she's extremely smart, okay? We know that about her already. If she's not gossiping or talking, like she said, she's listening. And she's observing. And she catches people's body movements really quickly. And I really like that, how you get a sense of their character just by playing the game a little bit. I think that's really, really cool. But we know Becca likes Ash. We think Ash likes Isabella, and Isabella likes Ash. But I think Zach might like Becca. I think. We'll see.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss
Just
him
fair.
or
Thank you,
kill
6
him.
bits. Thank you. Probably both.
It's more the latter currently.
Oh, crap.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into
Thank
a
you
room
for
and suddenly find a
subscribing,
body.
honey.
There.
Joe Care, thank you for the 5 months in a row, dude. Really appreciate the 5 months of support. Thank you. Anna said, please don't kill him. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find his body there. I waver as a feeling the burning of someone's stairs. It is chilling, and though I'm used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Oh, great. Why the fuck? Why the fuck? Why? Why do you have to be here? You weren't invited to the fucking party. Go back up to the attic. It is chilling, and though I'm used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hair on my neck, my back of my neck stand up. My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty. She looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half the mind to call the security at her when her mouth breaks into a grin. Nope! Nope! All I hear is her laughing, taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I'm nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hand shake, and I nearly drop my drink. But then, in a blink of an eye, she's gone. And the buzz of the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but Are you all right?
Debatable.
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light. Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
Achievement unlocked, reunion. The name is familiar, like a fond memory. For Marianne. What? Why? Okay. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She'd even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stovies, which I honestly hadn't been too keen about. Oh wait, doesn't Becca do stovies? Though I ate them nonetheless because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
Little Becky.
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way.
Like, God, that's adorable.
But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses!
Oh, I want to see her with glasses now.
And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A. What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
The more I list off names, the more red and the more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I've triggered a horrid childhood memory. Give me a second, let me finish eating this really quick, sorry. Dislikes being called Becky. Oh, but little Becky! I'm sorry, Becca, but I might call you Little Becky from now on. In Twitch chat, we have female Marauder 7, whose name is Becky, who sent me 99 paper keys that fell on my keyboard that are still there. And I just might call her Little Becky. Surely I hadn't been mean when she visited with her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years!
Still chasing Ashhole.
I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone within earshot, you know? Keep it down.
No, you need to be loud.
Sorry, but it really is cute.
It's adorkable. And a tad bit sad.
This is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky.
Becky!
Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
I would assume so.
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales.
I don't know. I truly hope everybody has a happy end to their lives. If you can sit at the end of a week and be like, I had a good week, I'm happy. It's a happy ending for me too.
And they are, sorta.
I like doing that, where I'll reflect on everything that's happened in a week, or even just a day. Something as short as a day. Be like, I had a good day. Good day, happy day. Post, thank you for the bit. Oh my god, Becky, look at her butt.
I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right?
Yes.
You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it.
Yes.
But what do I know?
There's a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what? 20 years?
17, actually. But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense.
Dense.
I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Well, that won't do.
Yeah, guys don't click. We're all dense, okay? Guys are all stupid.
What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I?
Yeah.
Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway.
No, both parties have to work hard at it.
There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans.
Very true.
It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my... crush.
Crush? Oh, I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress? Or the pink blouse and petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. Also, Cake, thank you for 20 bits. How's it going? I'm having a great day. How you doing, Cake? It feels ridiculous. Remember all of that years later, talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls, as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things then, without me not knowing any better. Though looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did something good at that time, enough for her to take it to heart. But all that didn't matter in the moment as I mull over what she's just said in my head. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There's no time to ponder over that. However, as a hush descends upon the once lively crowd, the music of strings and the chatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors from the foyer open. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago. And anyone else this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their face. So this can only be one person. Or rather, one man. There's only one man who is audacious enough to arrive at his own party so late.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
Unlike I, who was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to its presence, he sought it out at every chance he could, even when there was no spotlight that shone. Live to die, thank you for the 100 bits. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like that. He did so quite brilliantly under the scrutiny when he channels his own showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks. Really? Yeah, with fire. How they listen, enraptured, even if all he's doing is a simple greeting. A little wave of his hand here, a little smile there, and a bit of swagger. I always tell him that if he's not to be a businessman, he'll do well as an entertainer. I love the sight of him, especially when he looks at me, and he beckons me over to him humbly to share his place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and I make my way to Luke's.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen. If you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone.
There's a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approach us left and right to shake Luke's hand and greet him personally, praises on their lips. It is because of this that I do not see her.
Thank you for subscribing.
Oh, Morty!
honey.
Thank you for the 16 months. Here's 16 months and a ton more to come. Thank you, Morty. I appreciate the 16 months. I do not see her until she is dangerously close, with fury in her eyes, and she's already spitting venom. Oh, crap. Who the hell is this? I thought it was gonna be this spooky chick, but it's not. Johannes restrains her, taking care not to unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman? Pregnant woman? But that does little to deter her rage, and the man has no choice but to let her go, lest an unborn child is hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as I see an emptied glass of wine in her hand. Why the fuck are you drinking when you're pregnant, stupid? How much has she embitted in?
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle?
Oh, fuck. Why is... This is Lee's wife.
Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here! You bloody bastard, standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing her finger in my direction before she rounds on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break out among the guests, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol on her breath. I'm not ticked off about this little display of hers, at least not yet. But I am absolutely pissed by the fact that she's endangering her own baby by drinking. Same! There's a considerable amount of restraint and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient, if tight, smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indecipherable.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
I did.
Oh shit.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir. What is even going on?
I am just about to ask that exact same thing.
I don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass!
Responsible?
You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens!
Luke. If you couldn't get more douchebaggy.
Excuse me. What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk. That's all it is. Just completely and utterly mad. Has anyone seen the Chief Inspector?
I am pregnant with your little bastard. You promised me you'll take responsibility.
Oh shit.
God damn it, Luke. I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me.
Wow. What? What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me. I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours. Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby? Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
You clearly fucking don't. Oh, where the fuck were you? Glued-haired mustache inspector? It is now that Johans returns with security, along with a concerned-looking Officer Lee. They surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, he's heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man. What about you? Not that I believe Rochelle. Luke will never. He'll never go as far as to sleep with another woman. Right?
I'm so sorry for her behavior. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol. Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing here but the ramblings of a drunk? Of course they're nothing but ramblings of a drunk. She's just jealous. Jealous of this wonderful marriage, this happily ever after that I have with my prince.
Take that trollop out of here immediately!
Uh-oh.
And see to it that she isn't allowed to hear or anywhere we hold any authority in Luxbourne.
Oh shit. To be banned from anything with the right name on it is basically social suicide. We practically own half of Luxbourne. There isn't a single establishment of repute that isn't under our patronage one way or another. This is mercy. I can do much worse to her. At least this way, she can just move out of the city and never ever return. I have stayed my hand in the face of her grievous fault, her bold-faced lies when she deserves so much more. I can take away her business, have her factory shut down. It is too easy to ruin her life until she is just nothing. Yeah, see, rich people have like a scary amount of power, and I really don't fucking like that. It is all so tempting. I can only see red. The tension is thick in the air, and the silence that embraces the room is nearly deafening. There are worried and almost fearful glances from some of the guests. Yet at the same time, I can hear them still whispering. But as long as they hold their tongues and don't interfere, none of those are matter to me. Especially when my darling looks at me with a different shine in his eyes. It almost seems as if he's proud of what I've done, and that spurs me on more than anything.
Everyone, please go back to enjoying the party. Don't let that mess of a woman ruin your night.
You heard her! Strike up the band, maestro, and let us dance like fireflies in the night!
I still really fucking hate you. I hate you so fucking much. It takes a bit for the crowd to stir again in the face of all that. Alright, so I'm gonna ask Twitch chat here really quickly. And you guys, of course, watching the video, whether this is right now or later on. How many of you actually believe Luke? Do you think he had nothing to do with this? Or do you think he's a lying cheater? Takes a bit for the crowd to stir on in the face of all that. But like most problems of the elite, it is brushed under the rug and forgotten in favor of merriment. And a lot of my Twitch chat is saying exposed. He's probably lying, but you never really know. He's a lying cheater, scumbag. He has everything to go with it. He's cheating, he's lying. Luke is a lying sack of shit. Why can't there ever be a punch him option? Don't know, Grumpy Skeleton. Amazing Batman says he's definitely a piece of shit. He's a rich, powerful arse who probably man salutes himself all around town because he can. That's true, Nee. Lying bastard, some people are saying. Yeah, I really, yeah. Like most problems of the elite, it is brushed under the rug and forgotten a fair merriment. He offers his hands to me with a small smirk and a bow.
Well, that was a mess, wasn't it? And you handled it magnificently.
It happens. We are very important people, are we not?
Milady, would you like to dance?
Why this change of mood?
With pleasure, my prince.
No one is going to get in between me and my darling husband. Not Rochelle or any other rich, snooty scrubber. Not some common whore or an ambitious maid. No one is going to get near him in that manner, not while I'm around. And if I have anything to say about it, no one is going to get near him at all. I think she may be set in a thing of denial or just too obsessed over her dream of wanting kids. The day after proved to be a difficult task. My darling prince is a man of many connections, a man of the people. He's always talking to one person or another, and I'm always left alone, unable to stay at his side at all times. It is frustrating, but I have to be understanding. Besides, I don't see why he can't just stay at home. At least I can do is to make sure I have his time while he's here, which in and of itself isn't as easy as it sounds. Not with that bloody valet of his tailing him around.
Johans, where's my tie? I can't find it anywhere.
Have you looked around your neck? It should be there if it's not on your clothes horse, sir.
It isn't often that I'm awake this early, at least early enough to find my darling preparing for the day with the valet attending him. It's an old-fashioned way to go about the morning. He's able to dress himself after all. But he says that it really makes the day easier for him to have someone else do the tedious task, albeit with a grimace. Though if this manservant of his dislikes the duty so much, I'll gladly do it in his stead.
I've got it, my prince. Come here.
Well, someone's up and at them especially early this morning, huh? Here I thought you'd be knackered by all the dancing we did last night at the party. And after that... well...
Excuse me? A saucy little... that's like... it's like your dad saying that to your mom when you come down for breakfast in the morning. Like... does anybody have that? I don't want to ask if you've had that happen to you. If you've had that, just do hashtag cringe 2017 in the comments or the chat right now. Just a saucy little wink and a smile is what he offers me as I draw close to fix his tie. I wouldn't fix your tie for a wink and a smile at all. When the valet reaches out with his perfume, ha ha! You wear perfume? Cologne, man up, dude. I quickly take it and shoo him aside. This close, his scent fills me with the smell of white flowers, cocoa, cardamom, and almonds. Oh my god, there's a lot of cringe 2017s in chat. Just thinking 3 bits. Pat, you've gone red. Yeah, my parents have done it. Cause that's I think all parents have done it at least once in their life to their kids, as part of a horrible joke, or they just don't care. It is intoxicating, and the sight of the two of us in the vanity mirror is picturesque and perfect. Can I help it if I feel a bit resentful that another person gets to do this for Luke every morning when I could have done it myself? No, I can't.
You're dismissed, Shroken. I have this. Go on then. You'll be summoned if you're needed.
There's a curious look furrowed brows before any sign that he cares is wiped from his expression.
Very well. If you need me, I'll be somewhere that isn't here.
Okay, bye.
Could have let the man do his job.
And I say there's no need for him. I can take care of you just fine, my prince. Just where are you off to this morning anyway?
I hate the thought of him leaving me. It feels like an eternity without him here. In this lonely place that doesn't feel like a home quite yet. She is definitely lonely, and being cut out of the business side of things really has her left with like nothing to do. Especially since he's very questionable right now. Although the mansion is really growing on me, slowly but surely. Okay, I want to be at his side, yet he fails to see such an obvious thing.
Business. Where else?
Why can't you just work from home? You can afford to, can't you?
Yeah.
Business needs a firm hand and a personal touch, Buttercup.
That is a very poor choice of words.
Besides, I can't stay cooped up forever in here. I'll go mad.
Yeah, about that.
Well, you'll come back home as soon as possible, won't you? It's so awfully lonely here without you, my prince.
I could. I don't see why I should, though. This hasn't been a problem before. You know I'll come home when I come home.
Just get home as soon as you can. For me, won't you?
Morty says more like your baby mom needs a personal touch. Yeah, I don't really like you at all. Just get home as soon as you can.
No promises. It's business after all.
Mm-hmm.
I can't just stand up in the middle of the meeting and tell them the wife wants me home.
You own the company. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Then forget those peasants.
He stops and stares, looking protrude for a moment before shaking his head. Is he feeling ill? That's more reason for him to stay here with me, doesn't it? I'm just being a good wife, worrying about my husband and all.
Be good, dear. And stay safe. There's been all sorts of dodgy characters seen about the property. I'll be leaving Johans with you, just in case you need anything, and to be on the safe side, okay?
But I don't need a valet. I need you here with me.
I'll be closing a big deal with a pharmaceutical company soon, if things go according to plan. Maybe, after that, I can take a breather for a bit.
No maybes. You have to promise me.
I only need him.
I'm going to be late, Hannah. The longer this takes, the later I'll get home.
Fine. Shall I see you out?
If that's what you want.
At the front door, his valet waits, ready to accompany him for the rest of the day when he's told to stay and attend me. I still don't like it. It looks like he doesn't either. But I ignore him in favor of the one who really matters. I hold Luke's hand in mine and give him a deep kiss. It makes my heart flutter as I see the way his eyes close during our moment of passion. Parting for air, I can only smile.
Have a good day, my prince.
Right. Off I go.
I still don't want him to leave. He should just stay. Forever.
If you could let go of my hand, please, Hannah.
This is so hard to let go when I finally have him in my grasp. To watch him enter his car and leave pains me so. It leaves behind an aching, gaping hole like a hunger and a need. I think in the back of her mind she thinks what Rochelle said is somewhat true. And she subconsciously knows where he's going. If you catch my drift. I'm not content until he returns.
If it fits you, breakfast is ready in the parlor, madam.
If anything, I'll be in a foul mood until he returns.
Leave and go practice your bloody sodomy elsewhere.
Peculiar.
When I turn around to hiss at him to leave, he's already gone, and that suits me just fine. I want to be alone, without anyone bothering me. I want to be alone with myself and my thoughts, with only these halls as company. These damn halls which will hold our memories, just he and I. There's no one else I need but my prince. Not some cheeky servant who's just living it up because he's Luke's right-hand man. Rubbish like him deserves nothing. He deserves to be thrown and locked in the attic. The fuck? Without realizing it, my feet brought me in here. This empty, lifeless room disgusts me. The longer I stare at it, the harder it gets to breathe, as if the walls are moving in on me. Yet, at the same time it pulls me in. I hear a whispering and curiosity get the better of me as I look under the... Why would you look under the bed? There, on the far corner. A loose floorboard. The wood, despite having swelled and warped over the years, is strangely familiar, comforting in its feel. Though it's not merely what my hand searches for as I reach for it, it takes quite an effort, but soon I'm able to lift it. And inside, underneath the dust and cobwebs, lies a pendant, warm and familiar. And I swear, if I just close my eyes, I can feel it beating in my palm. I feel a thrill, though I also feel like a thief for taking this. But it's mine. So, without delay, I hide in our room. In front of the vanity, I see the ways my eyes shine, and as I remove the clasps of my old necklace and put on this new one. It fits a lot better than the old one. I can feel it as it weighs on my chest.
Right where it
themselves.
Oh, you're dead. You're so dead. So dead. You're dead. And that's it. Now we are playing as Zachary. So let's go ahead and save a new thing for Zachary. And before we start, okay, I'm gonna be hearing this, so let me just get to the next thing. The pleasant Jess, thank you for the 10 bits, my precious. The pleasant aroma hits me long before I cross the threshold. Faint, but light and warm, a reminder of what home is. Pa's stern but commanding gaze, Ma's tender smile, the sunlight filtering through the eaves in the morning, and the distinct smell of cinnamon and vanilla as it drifts through the air every time something cooks from the room. The room. Our room. Ma and Pa's pride and joy. My sister and I too, eventually. But we aren't allowed there. Taz, thank you for the 5 bits. Thank you. Not yet. Not until we're taller or older. And Becca, thank you for the 5 bits. Becca said, I have a feeling that the ghost has been killing each person, and that's why we switch people. No, I think it's gonna be something bigger towards the end of the story. Not until we've learned how to take care of ourselves and not to burn our hands. Or reach the cupboards without having to be lifted.
But a little peek wouldn't hurt, yeah?
Hello, Gandalf. Thank you for the 5 bits, dude. Thank you. I appreciate that. The floorboards are cold under my feet, more than it usually is. The wall is more forbidding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases and Pa.
No, please wait. I'll be good. I'll sleep on time. Don't go.
I can't hear Pa. What the fuck? Not above the rakious clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. Pickles Jar, thank you for the 40 bits. Have I considered using my voice for audible? I'm not that good. There's only the blinding fear. When my foot slips, the red sea that catches me is bitter and frigid, but the blood that drips in my hand is warm. It's not my blood. The walls tumble and everything goes quiet. Ah! It takes a few moments for everything to fall into place, for my eyes to adjust to the relative darkness of the room. Despite the pleasant chill the AC brings, my shirt is clinging tightly to me. My blanket tangled mess around my throat. Morning has not even arrived, and yet...
Way too early for this thing, man.
Okay. So, we finished Isabella, Anna, and now we're on to Zachary. I can only guess Marianne, Rebecca, Ashton, and Luke is the next 4 that we'll be going with. But, let's read about our good buddy Zach. Zach is 31 years old. He's a Pisces. Zachary Zach Steele. He is 6 feet tall. He's a freelance photographer. His nationality is American, religion agnostic. Education diploma in digital film. He likes pie. I just wish it stopped there. Photography and filmography, documentaries, cooking, acoustic guitar, and video games. Zach, you are my man. Before his parents' death, he lived in New Jersey, where his family owned a diner and a bakery. He and his older sister were orphaned due to a hate crime, and they were forced to move to England where their grandparents lived. Oh God, I hate yawning. He had loved cooking and helping out with their old diner, but grew lazy and disinterested after the incident. It did not help that he was one of the few blocks in a predominantly white community at the time. His passion for the visual arts was sparked when he found old Polaroids and home movies of his parents. Freelancing helped pay his rent. but the man had long set his sights on the indie film scene. It was during the creation of his first documentary that a robbery occurred and Ashton was there to investigate. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time led to Zachary being placed as a suspect, but the rookie detective helped clear his name. Alright. And too long. Too long since the last I've woken up drenched in my own sweat, head littered with thoughts that are gone as soon as my eyes open. All too often, all the imprints and the brief images are left to haunt me for the rest of the day. God, it's gonna keep happening. I apologize, I keep yawning. Egad, whichever comes first. Yet vivid or not, what little I can remember does not matter. Regardless, the desperation sticks, clawing up, pushing, urging me to relive every moment, every sensation, and there's a twinkle in Ma's eyes when she looks up from her work, flour dusting her nose and cheeks. The scent of freshly baked breads wafts from the oven as soon as Pa opens it, and the homely fragrance of honey fills the room. Stop reading out loud, you'll stop yawning? Nah, it'll still happen. He reaches up to wipe the small beads of sweat away from his forehead before gesturing for me to come closer, the moment he spots me on my little hiding place behind the door. I expected him to be angry, but he just pat me on the back. That's the head. Pat me on the back when I come within his arm's reach is encouraging, though. We'll all have to taste these first before we put them up for sale tomorrow. Are you up for it, little man? Is it good enough? A knock cuts through the air before I can answer. Sharp, heavy, demanding, familiar. So distantly familiar. Ma ushers me into the kitchen, out of the kitchen where Pa moves to answer it. But I know what awaits outside. The taste of blood in my mouth sends an unpleasant churning in my gut. Ma's apron crinkles under my tight grip. Whoa! Something snaps me back into place. My bed remains in utter disarray. The walls still need a new paint job. And the wall clock ticking opposite my bed is unsettling as ever. Ash is right. I should have already replaced that when I had the chance.
You're no longer there, Zachary. Here and there are miles apart. Calm down. Breathe.
I pressure my own fingers against my temples, a welcoming sensation over the anxiety gripping me. Never really did anything to stave off the headache sure to follow after this, but it grounds me. A little reminder that I am safe, away from the place I once called home, from Ma and Pa's. The urgency with each rap that follows finally chases away the ghost threatening to hang around. Why anyone thinks it's a good idea to knock at someone else's door this late confuses me. Nana would have chased them all away with a broom if she was here. But no matter, it's a welcoming break from the thoughts that about to take a morbid turn if left festering. It's probably just Ash anyway. Looking for a place to freeload, crash. Looking for a place to crash. Wonder of wonders why he's bothering with the courtesy when he never did so before. Even with that hunch, though, habit compels me to check who it is first through the peephole. Better safe than sorry, they say. Except the person that greets me on the other side ain't him. Unless his hair grew longer overnight and he started wearing a ponytail, of course. Which I highly doubt will happen anytime soon. No matter how funny that looks in my head. I waste no time opening the latches.
Isabella.
It is Isabella! There's something I can't quite pinpoint in her eyes when she looks up. Her face, a pallid shade, shoulders tense, breathing heavy, and an uncomfortable shaking in her hands she's trying to hold back. Hide, if I didn't know any better.
Hey, Zach. Sorry, I know it's weird for me to show up at this hour, but you are the closest to my office, and...
No, it's perfectly fine. I'm not really working on anything right now. Do you want to come in?
Is it all right? I know you should be sleeping at this hour, but I thought... I'm sorry, I just thought I have no idea why I went here. My feet just moved on their own after I got out of the office, and... Sorry.
She trails off, her voice lost in the muggy night air. I wait for her to say more, but instead her only response is a downward shift of her gaze, back to her still trembling hands, as if the motion alone is enough of an explanation. I wonder if she's coming back from the office when we left off with Isabella a couple days ago. And back, I think, in 5 bits. A minuscule gesture. Easy to miss if one is not paying attention. But for someone who has seen the same expression on the mirror, done the same thing too many times when night terrors are inevitable, it is not.
Hey, don't worry about it. At least you not. Ash just barges in and crashes on the couch whenever he feels like it. I swear that guy is one fine hairline away from being a criminal.
Without waiting for her to answer, I step away from the door and saunter over the kitchenette. For a few good seconds, only the clinking of the plates can be heard above the constant tick-tock. Late as it may be for a snack, the familiar motions keep me occupied, steering my mind away from dangerous thoughts. Isabella's company is not unwelcome either. Whatever her reasons for showing up here at such an hour doesn't matter. I'll be damned if I turn her away, frazzled as she is. That is the description of a fantastic fucking friend, man. The door clicks shut behind her when she finally enters, feet scuffling softly against the tiled floor. In all the years I've known her, she has never once lost her ever upbeat spirit. Yet, in this particular moment, as she stands in my doorway, holding her arms close to herself, it's as if I'm looking at someone completely withdrawn from the person I've come to know all these years.
Do you want to drink or eat anything? I haven't restocked my food stash yet, so ingredients may be a bit limited. But I'm sure I can whip something up with what I have here.
Just water will do, please. Thanks, Zach.
What? No additional food requests? That's new. I'll put something together for you anyway. Feel free to make yourself at home. You ain't exactly a new visitor here. Although my room's not at its most presentable right now. Sorry. New freelance gigs and such.
I want to know where in the timeline this is. Okay, so... I want to figure this out. This is the first day we started, October 21st. This is the last day we have, October 29th. Now... If this is after Isabella's thing, at the office where she saw the lady, that means Zachary's already taken the pictures at Ermengarde Mansion, which means I'm for sure there's something on those photos.
Didn't have time to fix things up here lately.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Usually she'd have something more to say about that. A quip, a wittier remark to provoke a laughter or two. Nothing from her this time. Only a weak smile before she takes a seat on the couch, and a silence that stretches out until, well, what we have left hanging feels disconcerting. Before everything turns stifling and awkward, I continue talking, if only to keep the dead air at bay. How's one supposed to keep a conversation going when the person you're talking to is like this?
Anyway, gigs. Can you believe this one client we got? Boss had all my scheduled shoots shifted after they caught wind of this couple buying a new property.
Ooh, that kind of gives us a little bit.
Man, must be nice to have all the money in the world. The world itself moves for you, huh?
She's curled up on one side of the couch and hugging her knees close when I bring the tray carrying the sandwiches and the water she requested. She starts to straighten up as I'm unloading the contents, but pauses as soon as I hold up my hand in a halting gesture.
You're a guest. Didn't I say you're free to make yourself at home? Here's your water. Careful.
The tremor in her hands, though lighter now, still hadn't subsided when she reaches out for the glass. Ziffanella says, "You're right, Pat, and it's before Rose's death." Oh, yeah! I forgot about Rose dying. Huh. That's interesting.
Hey.
Hello.
Do you need anything?
No, I'm okay. Maybe another soda if that's okay.
You haven't eaten today.
It's okay.
Not really.
I gave her a questioning look, but she is quick to avert her eyes, keeping herself occupied by taking small gulps of water. Or maybe she just doesn't want me asking questions. Worrying. The sudden loss of words this is about, of quiet, not normal presence in our chats. This could be the time where she found the letter. But no, that wouldn't be right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Even the cracking of the old chair where I casually take the seat is a welcome break. Although the company's familiar, this has gone way past unnerving.
What happened? Overtime at work?
She doesn't answer immediately. Although, gulps drain her glass of its remaining contents. One would think it will be enough to help her recover, yet she doesn't lose her taut grip on the glass as she cradles it on her lap. Her eyes take an unfocused gaze when she speaks again.
Yeah. Boss handed me extra work today. After what happened.
This has to be when Rose died. Because that's the only time the boss gave her extra work.
To Rose.
There we are. Okay, so after what happened to Rose.
Rose. Why do I feel like you've mentioned her before? Sorry, I'm better with remembering faces than names.
So this is after Rose has died. This is after Isabella was inside of the office, hiding under the desk.
She was my coworker. That will take some getting used to. I was just talking to her the other day.
Was? Did she resign or something? I think I'm missing a few details here, Bella.
You've never met her. I think I did mention her once or twice. It doesn't matter. You probably heard her name recently from the news than me.
Something clicks then. A little memory from the night before. The bright red light from the dark room, the strong odor of the stop bath, the television's barely audible murmur in the background, and a glimpse of a bloody room. The news is everywhere in the evening and even in the morning that follows. I just didn't think its effects will strike someone this close to me.
Oh, damn. I didn't mean to bring that up.
No, like I said, it'll take some getting used to, but it'll get better. I hope it will. Things might become a little busier for me, though. She left a lot of things unfinished, and I'm one of the few people in the office who knows how she works. Boss thinks the transition will be easier if I handle it.
That explains it. Well, just don't forget you still need rest. Even the most hard-working people I know don't keep hours as late as this. Hell, the subway stopped running hours ago. Crime rate might be lower here than most places, but that doesn't mean you can walk around freely in the middle of the night.
It's just for today.
Still a good thing you dropped by here first. I'm not just about to let you walk out here alone, especially not in the middle of the night. Who knows what else could happen? I'm not saying you should go right now, but I could accompany you home if you...
No! Wait, please!
Why are you so snappy to go back home? The vehement tension in her voice makes me pause, and it is in this instant that the mask she's been keeping up falls apart, if only for a short while. Right then and there, I understood what's hiding behind her unfocused stare from the moment she's arrived. Fear. Pure, unadulterated fear. It's disturbing to see such Marion in her usual upbeat content. Oh, for fuck's sake! I can't English and I can't read and I suck. With a sigh across the small distance separating us and kneel in front of her. She doesn't flinch when I do so. However, the way she appears to make herself smaller against this couch is telling enough.
Bella, this ain't just about your coworker, is it? What is it really about? I'm all ears.
Whoa! The sound of glass shattering rents through the air as soon as her hold on it loosens. In the span of a few seconds, her breathing grows labored.
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
She claps her hands over her ears, pressing it tightly against the sides of her head. Her voice grows weaker with each word, each plea coming out of her mouth.
Please, please don't leave me alone. I don't want to be alone right now. I can't shake it off. Everywhere's not safe and...
All right, Isabella. Look at me. Look at me.
My hands are firm on her shoulders when I pull her up and look at me. It takes every force of will to ignore the terror in her eyes in favor of taking control of the situation. Too close. Too similar.
Breathe. Breathe. You're safe here. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Stay in the present. I'm here. No one's gonna hurt you. Do you want to talk about it?
The force with which she shakes her head is enough reason to drop the topic altogether.
No more. Please. No more. I don't want to remember anymore.
Okay, no more talking. I won't ask anymore. Can I get you anything? Another glass of water? I think I have a tub of that pistachio ice cream you love so much.
Ooh, ice cream.
We're gonna have to clean this mess first. Will you be fine on your own for a little while?
She nods lightly before retreating into herself again. No more words are exchanged after that, and I take that as my cue to start cleaning the shards littering the floor before either one of us get hurt. The quiet hum of the AC is a pleasant distraction as I go over the menial task. More so than her ragged draws of breath or my little feeble attempts to tell a quick story or two. But the latter does the trick. And soon enough, she's already drifted off by the time I return with the promised glass of water. Her chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm, the strain on her shoulders gone. Frankly, I've never seen her this still. She mumbles something I don't quite catch when I carry her to the empty bed and hugs herself tighter against the mess of blankets. In spite of the fact that she appears relaxed, the small frown on her face hasn't quite disappeared. Whatever happened to her won't be leaving her anytime soon. But for her sake, I hope it won't stay long with her. There's still questions left to be answered. But the late hour, coupled with the sudden exhaustion, made my cold couch a more comfortable bed than typically is. Darkness immediately welcomes me as soon as my head hits my makeshift pillow. I can only wish the dreams will keep at a distance for now. For both of us. So this is the 25th. Okay, hold up. 25th. What actually happens on 25th? Nothing. So some of the days where nothing happens, something is gonna happen. Interesting. Something happens on the 18th. And I'm still wondering why Becca and Ash were at the house. That's probably something for Becca or Ash's thing. The first few notes, while muffled, are enough to wake me. In the end, it became one of those nights when sleep passes like a blink and it is plagued with vague, fuzzy thoughts. I lift a hand to rub away the drowsiness from my eyes, although it does little to relieve the gritty, burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sun is yet to peek over the horizon, but night has already given way to the cool morning light, washing everything in subtle gray hues. At this hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Ordinarily, waking up before my own alarm means abusing the snooze button, twice or thrice, just to catch those precious few more extra minutes of sleep. But the persistent ringing makes it impossible now.
This better be good.
Groggily, I scramble for the bag sitting at the foot of my bed. The ringing still hasn't stopped, even as I fish the phone out. An Ashton name flashes brightly on the screen when I turn it on. Must be pretty urgent if he hasn't dropped the call yet.
Took you long enough, Z-Man.
Ashton, it's 6 in the morning.
I'd fucking kill him.
Sun hasn't even risen. Hell, my brain ain't even awake yet.
I would have fucking killed him. I would have killed him. I would drive where fucking Ash is. I'd kill him.
Stop calling me Z-Man.
It's 20 past 6, Zach.
You're still fucking dead.
You want to talk? Give me back my 5 extra minutes, Ash. I want my sleep.
Hey, don't make fun of me. I can be a more person too if I want to.
What's this all really about? You don't usually make calls around this hour. Is the world ending today?
Sorry about that. Becca rang me up a few minutes ago looking for Isabella. Said she didn't show up in her own apartment last night. We both tried calling, but her phone seems to be off. Do you have any idea where...
I should have known you two would come looking for her first thing in the morning.
Not a laughing matter, Zach. You can't really let your guard down with everything that's happened here recently. You've heard about the Cooper wound from the news. Everyone in the precinct has been restless ever since the incident the other day.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Listen, Ash, about Bella.
I let my voice trail off, unsure of how to go about recounting last night. If I should even say anything to him. He might be a close friend, but at the end of the day, whatever's bothering her ain't mine to speak of in the first place. On the bed, Isabella remains as still as when I transferred her there the night before. Sometime during the sleep, she pulls up a blanket over herself and tucked it into... She burrito blanketed herself, which I love to do every day, every night when I go to sleep, or if I take a nap, I burrito blanket myself. Like this, it's easy to forget the horror in her eyes, or how much her hands and lips trembled. Safe for her firm grip on the edge of the covers, she appears nearly as normal as she would any other day. Almost.
I'm not really sure how to go about this while being...
Zach, what about her?
Something. The worry. The concern. Must have surfaced in my tone because his own shifts then. Carefully, as if he's preparing for the worst.
Look, you don't have to worry about her. She's with me right now. Since last night, in fact.
Oh, why didn't you just say so earlier?
She kinda knocked in the middle of the night. I couldn't possibly wake you two over that. And with how things are when she arrived, I thought it'd be best if I let her rest first. I just wasn't expecting people would be looking for her before the rooster even crows.
You could have at least called her something. Becca's beside herself with worry when she found out. You know how much she frets about the smallest stuff.
How's it going, Carol?
I know. I'm sorry. That was a lapse on my part.
White Knight,
I just didn't think... Okay, you know what? Rebecca's worries ain't completely baseless. Isabella hasn't been her usual self since the movie. Maybe even before that.
Okay, so the movie night has passed. So when did... Hold on. I need to figure this out. Oh god, you scared the crap out of me, Marie.
I'm sorry.
It's alright. So, Rose passed away on the 23rd. Hannah meets Zach tomorrow in the game. Okay.
I don't know if I should be opening my mouth about this, but Bella didn't outright say I shouldn't, so...
So something's wrong then?
I'm not quite sure, to be completely honest.
Really? I thought you'd have learned something from me by now.
That's not it. Ash, when she appeared at my doorstep last night, she was shaking, and when I tried to ask her about it, she just panicked. Had this frightened look on her face. I'd be surprised if this was the first time I've seen it, but it ain't. Dude, the first time, she was screaming.
First time? When was this? You weren't talking about the thing in the movie house, are you? Because that was just us fooling around. Granted, I think I went overboard with the joke, but...
No, it happened the day after. When she invited us to lunch, you weren't there.
And a lot of people are asking in chat. Yes, this will go on YouTube, just to answer a lot of people's questions.
We were walking 1 second, and then the next, she's crying out. I'll be straight with you. That scared me shitless.
Whoop, sorry. It bothered him, if the way he falls silent after his telling. But whatever his opinion is, stays absent from his voice when he speaks again. He always has been good with that, hiding what he thinks.
Did she say anything else?
I don't know.
Nothing. Won't tell me anything aside from a few vague words. I didn't want to push it.
Where is she? Is she still sleeping?
Right here with me, still sleeping. Should I wake her up or something? Let her know you guys are looking for her?
No need. Let her rest. I'll drop by in a few.
Today? Don't you have work at this time? I mean, I can drop her off home myself before meeting my client later.
Client later?
Look who's talking.
My schedule's flexible, Ash. Last time I checked, you're the one who didn't have that luxury. How on earth do you think I'm able to tag along when you need me?
It's not completely out of the way.
I love how even though he's, like, he totally has a thing for her. Like, totally has a thing for her. He's not gonna drop everything he's got during the day to go just pick up Bella.
They live on the other side of the town from you, Ash. Your definition of out of the way is a little screwed up, you know.
And he bought her ice cream the other day.
It's fine. I have some things I need to do anyway. I'll call you back. I've got to let Becca know that Scared Cat's fine. Bye.
He drops the call before I can even get a word in, and for several minutes after, I find myself simply listening as the rest of Luxembourg rouses. The increasing sound of passing traffic, the bustle of the nearby shops preparing for the day, and the growing clamor of the people while they go about their morning. Not the most soothing sounds to hear following a troubled night, but the routine puts me at ease nevertheless. What's comforting, what's safe, what I'm used to. Nearby, Isabella shifts but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware as the city slowly stirs itself back to life. Was her night as restless as the one I had? Were her dreams as lucid? In hushed moments like this, I envy her. Unreasonable, probably a little unfair to say such in light of last night. If only forgetting is as easy as breathing. Small yawn escapes me when I rise from the couch to stretch. Luckily, the short conversation with Ass has effectively driven away any will to go back to bed. I still have a day to get through despite the proverbial ghosts hanging around. The orange bottle sitting at the edge of my table is reassuring against my palm the instant I pick it up. The sterile odor of the capsule is equally so. Yet the weight they carry is something I've never gotten used to. Years ago, I'd spend minutes, heck, even hours staring at a single pill prior to taking one in. Now it's just routine. A way to stave off the unwanted nightly visits. Although I don't think Dr. Navarro will be quite pleased if he ever finds out I'm relying on them again. I do owe him a visit, regardless. Especially after missing our appointments on purpose and ignoring his calls for weeks. Another sigh comes out, tired and weary. Then I pop the tablet in my mouth.
Zach? What time is it?
So what pills he's taking is, I think it's a medication for his night terrors. Could be something else. The bottle on my hand hits the table with more force than necessary. As much as I trust my friends, there's some things I'd rather keep to myself.
Morning, Bella. Did you sleep well?
Antidepressant? That's also a good one. Oh crap. She answers the question with a long drawn-out yaw, one reminiscent of a child. A chuckle manages to come out of my mouth at the sight. In this manner, it's easy to mistake her for someone too young for responsibilities. Inexperienced and immature even. Easy to forget she was thrust into the role of an adult early than her own dreams can afford. To overlook how surprisingly observant she can be at times. Maybe not on the same level Ash exercises for his investigation, or Rebecca needs for her own work. But it's certainly enough to put what she sees around her own canvas. And if the way her eyes flickered to the table and my hand says something, it is that I won't be able to avoid the questions this time.
Only a little. I don't remember how I ended up on the bed, though.
My doing. You didn't look very comfortable sleeping on the couch, all hunched up like that.
It would have been enough for something temporary.
Jan... No. You're funny. I get the joke, though. Turned down for what? Ha 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 ha. Yeah, you're not very original. That's like 2 years ago. Funny Twitch things. But I like the try.
Sorry I stole your bed.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I leave a lady sleeping in such uncomfortable conditions? Not in this house. My nana will give me a tough scolding if I ever did that, I'm telling you.
Dude, I love how nice Zach is. We've had a lot of douchebaggy people in this game. Maybe it's just Luke. Maybe it's just Luke I really fucking hate. Going from a douchebaggy Luke character to just someone who's so genuine and nice. Makes me just love Zach.
Thanks a lot, Zach. I know I barged in at a very inconvenient time last night. I wasn't really thinking when I did, and...
Hey, it's cool, Bella. I ain't mad at you. That's what friends do. You guys are welcome here anytime. Although Ashton abuses the anytime part a lot, I don't really mind. We might have less wiggle room if all four of us are present, considering the size of this place. But as long as no one makes anything explode, it's totally fine.
And I love his apartment, his little flat, as he calls it. Like, I love the ability to have 2 windows on each side. Here in my apartment, I've only got 1 window, and that's right behind me. But I don't have a window on that side of the apartment. I would love just a full, like, both side room thing. And I'm guessing behind him would be another window, because it's so bright in his room, and I love that.
Fine or not, I still owe you one for last night's trouble, especially since you don't seem to be...
A concerned expression passes over her features as she spares another cursory glance over the table, back to the bottle holding every small piece of what keeps the bad memories at bay. The blood blooming over Pa's heart, the horrified look on Ma's face as she watches him fall, lifeless to the ground, and every ounce of spite seeping from the stranger's smile. You don't belong here. You monkeys don't belong here. It never stops, doesn't it?
Well, you don't seem to be feeling well. Let me know, okay? I'll make it up to you somehow.
She makes a slight gesture with her head towards the bottle, asking a question without really asking. Subtlety has never been one of her greatest assets, but right now, even Ash would have been a little amazed, if not at a loss for words at that. She has left it up to me whether I'll give her the response she wants to hear or not. A little clever coming from her, if anyone would ask. Let's tell the truth. But it's never easy, ain't it? Wow. I want him to tell the truth because I also want to know how he feels. So, talking about my own problems, that is. It'll never be, not by a long shot. But, as you said, Zach, these are your friends. They're there for you. Not when I've let it stay this way for so long. I realized that long ago, when the wounds are still fresh and the dreams are a nightly occurrence. Can't force yourself to get better or move on to better things. It is what's normal now, and I can only cope. The question in her eyes may be unwarranted, born simply out of curiosity and sincere concern for a friend. I don't owe her an explanation, in fact. But of all the people I keep close in my life, she's probably one of the very few who perhaps I can trust with this. Maybe she won't understand entirely. I can never hope she will. No, never to the full extent. That alone is expecting too much of her, and giving too much of what I can. However, for all her shortcomings, I know she'll hear me out. And that is all I can ask of her.
My bad. I was kinda hoping you wouldn't have seen me with these.
The pills rattle lightly against the container when I gently set it back to its usual place. Always a small area closest to my laptop, near the right hand. Within reach whenever, and a quiet reminder of what I shouldn't miss every day.
What? Oh, is it bad? I was just thinking that maybe it's a cold like Becca's. Do you need me to get anything from the store? Soup or something? There's one nearby, right? I can run real quick and...
No, nothing of that sort. I'm perfectly healthy right now.
Give me a second, chat. Sorry. Had an idea for an emote, and I'm hitting up Damien. And I kind of wanted to know where the other emotes are. Crap.
It's really difficult to say, but can you promise me you'll listen at least?
What is this about, Zach?
I should have been upfront with you about this a long time ago. Well, Ashton found out without me telling him anything. But you already know how that guy is. Can't hide anything from him.
If it's something you're having trouble saying, you don't have to force yourself to tell me. I'll forget I ever saw anything and won't ask questions. Promise.
No, I need to get this off my chest eventually. Besides, we're already here. Might as well finish what I started, yeah?
If you say so.
She takes a seat on the couch, her posture easy and open, and her smile honest. As if this is just a simple talk between two friends on a regular day. It is far from one, but her unreserved air is enough to stamp down the twinge of unease that threatens to come up.
Let's hear it then.
And she does. Achievement unlocked feels like yesterday. True to her words, she listens while the story spills out of my mouth, of my ma and pa, that little old diner across the pond, and what it left in me that day. I can't recall most of it now, my own account jagged with a few missing details here and there. The passing years have eroded most of my recollection of the whole incident, all except for that one moment in the kitchen. The ringing of gunshots here are as vivid as it sounded that day. Even Ma's hysterical screams the moment Pa's body hits the floor motionless, his lifeblood flowing out from under him. And the gunman. He was smiling. He was smiling when Pa opened the door to welcome him. He was smiling when he put a bullet to Pa's chest and Ma's head. I've heard stories of how the world can be a cruel place for people like us before. I never believed until that moment.
Nan and Gran took us right after that. Sis and I flew straight to New Jersey as soon as they heard the news. A few days after, Ma and Pa were laid to rest. And we have a new home a continent away. I didn't even get the chance to take my favorite pillow with me. They said something about the change of environment would be good for us. They had no idea the different kind of ghosts would follow me here.
I expected questions, mostly those brimming with childlike curiosity, maybe some that are a little too hard to answer. But to her credit, she just sat there, lent her ears, and looked at me with no expectations or unnecessary judgment in her eyes. She appears wiser and older like this, easier to see the breadwinner in her. Her younger siblings are lucky to have her. When I'm done, after everything's been said, she wraps her arms around me, a bit awkward considering the gap in our heights, but it gets her sentiment across. But it's difficult, to answer this in kind. If I'm even supposed to reciprocate the gesture given my early apprehension. She pulls away shortly with a smile on her face. Not the reaction I braced myself for, but it is obviously better than what I imagined.
Are you not gonna say anything?
Am I supposed to say anything after? Like, apologize or something? I don't think that's very appropriate, but if you want to hear one, I can think of something real quick.
Not really. Other people have something to say after usually. And they're not necessarily nice either.
Oh? Okay then. I won't. I can't think of something anyway. Sorry. I'm not very good with this. Who else knows, by the way?
My older sister, grandparents, and just Ash and you for now. Maybe I think I should tell Rebecca too, but...
But not right now?
Yeah, not right now. When I'm ready. Like today.
I'm sure she'll be willing to hear you out once you do.
I don't doubt she will. I'm more afraid of how she'll react after. One step at a time, yeah? Whew. Surprisingly, it feels good to get that one out my chest.
Yeah.
I was a little afraid you'd be angrier. I didn't tell you earlier than today.
Why? That's your personal business. Why would your friends be mad if you don't want to talk about your personal problems, your personal demons? I would never be upset with my friends. Be like, why didn't you tell me this before? The hell, dude? Like,
I'm not angry. I'm just surprised. You didn't look like it. I wouldn't have suspected. I suppose that's how it often is, isn't it? We all have our... what's the word Becca uses? Inner demons?
that's a bit weird how that happened, but okay.
But this is something personal to you. I understand why you'd rather have a few people know.
That too. Well, these past few weeks haven't been easy for you. I didn't want to add that. Not after last night.
Something passes in her face. Brief, fleeting, and disappears right before I can recognize what it is.
You okay?
Yep, no worries. I'll be fine. Look, about last night... Never mind. This isn't a good time. But don't lose sleep over this, alright? What's important is you got what you want to say out. And if you need me, I'll be here.
I should be relieved. Her words are more than reassuring to my ears. There should be comfort in hearing those alone, in knowing I have another person to rely on if things ever go bad. But somehow I find myself worrying more for her instead. I'll make another attempt to get the story out of her if I can. But this is a dance I know all too well, and with her, I doubt forcing her to say something would yield any results. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask that won't result in something a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until a week passes. At worst, I'd rather not risk it. I've never seen her angry. Outright annoyed, maybe, and often directed at Ash, but never furious. What do they say again about the happiest people when angered? Besides,
thank you for subscribing.
It'd be unfair to hear her. It'd be unfair to her after our little chat. And Dragon, thank you for subbing. Really support this. Really appreciate the sub. Thank you so much, Dragon, for subscribing. I hope you enjoy your new emotes.
So, food then?
She seems relieved at the brisk change of subject, and as if it has been simply waiting for us to cue all this time, her stomach rumbles at the mention of food. Rather loudly, as a matter of fact.
Alrighty, Missy. We're going to get some chow now.
Sweet.
Better be quick, though. Can't have your stomach starting a revolution on us here.
Don't make fun of me. I'm not that hungry. Maybe a little. I didn't think I'd end up skipping dinner last night.
And now we have one starved stomach protesting. Sorry, it'll be nothing fancy, since I'm a little low on stocks. I should probably drop by the grocery store after the meeting this afternoon.
I can make a quick run for you if you want.
Nah, I've got enough to put together something nice here. Maybe. I could always improvise if we're missing an ingredient or two. It ain't like we're going for a Michelin 3-star status here.
No, you should though.
Also, didn't I say you're a guest? Is this a Filipino thing? Or just Rebecca rubbing off on you?
The soft laughter that comes from her doesn't quite reach her eyes. Neither. The answer is neither. Neither. The answer is neither. Because if she stays idle, she'll remember.
On second thought, I might need a little help slicing up the potatoes while I prep the ham. You up for that?
What? Do you think instant noodles are all I'm about?
Yes.
I'll have you know, I can cook a mean paella with my eyes closed. All my siblings love it.
Sure you can. Come on. I think I know what we'll do with those spare ingredients.
Despite the massive effort to keep the mood light with small chatter, cooking ends up being a mostly quiet affair. Between us, the consistent clapping of the knife against the board and the muffled noise from the television I left running, words have become surprisingly difficult to string together. Not entirely unusual, we've had moments like this before, but definitely unnerving with how things are now. I really wish someone else would come knocking at the door. As pleasant as this is, breaking the ice or keeping a conversation going has never been my forte. That has always been Isabella's or Rebecca's department. Sometimes Ash's, although most coming from him, border on awkward or embarrassing. Speaking of the guy, I never did call back, and I'm willing to bet my entire year's salary that he fell right back to sleep after that call.
Sorry, Bella. Could you?
Yep, I got it. The potatoes are almost ready, by the way. I turned down the heat just in case.
You turned down for what? Oh, it made a full come around.
Hold on, I'll be right there. Sheesh, wait up. If you keep rapping at the door like that, you'll break it down.
Rapping? Do I have any British or UK or European viewers in chat right now? I would like to ask. Right now I know it's like god-awfully late for the European viewers. Yes? Is rapping a common phrase you guys use? I know rapping is like knocking. I know it's knocking. I know. I just want to know if rapping is a common phrase used. It's not even British, really. Not really. Yes. Yes. Kinda British. Well, I only say that because I believe they're in Britain. Bit old-fashioned. Yes, sometimes. Okay. Because I know when I went to London. Oh God. Six years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. A long time ago, probably longer than that. We were on a tour, and they showed us where Princess Diana passed away. I think it was actually in Paris. And our tour guide was British, and she was saying how she cracked up when Princess Diana passed. And to us Americans, we use the phrase "cracked up" as something of laughter, as you know, I was cracking up laughing. But we were notified with her that cracking up is a term for crying and stuff. So that's all. I'm fascinated by how different words have different meanings depending on where you live, and I truly love that. But anyway, crack up is crying to me. You see, that's what I like, is seeing the different things. Anywho, voice actors sound American, but translation would be more to an English oriented. Yeah, I agree. We say it for both, really. Oh, okay. Okay. Anyway, to each their own.
Ash.
Oh, good. You're awake.
Ash has already welcomed himself in when I take my eyes away from the oven. He's never been really keen with the notion of courtesies after he's warmed up to you. This guy. This guy. All 13 of my locks he broke can attest to that. He's a good fellow, though. Maybe a tad bit standoffish at first glance, but he's trustworthy.
Don't you have work today?
I could ask the same of you. Hey, Z-Man.
You're late. Something came up? You need to drop the Z-Man. It's getting old.
Sorry. I got caught with something at the precinct on the way here. Had to attend to that first before things got out of hand. I'd tell you about it, but you know how it can be with those kinds of things. Later, maybe.
And you're here because...
What? I'm not allowed to say hello?
I still really want his jacket.
I doubt you're here because of that. And you're...
Crap.
My bad. Forgot to mention that.
Hold up.
I doubt you're here because of that. And you're not answering my question.
He called earlier looking for you. Rebecca's worried because you didn't come home last night.
You could have called my cell instead.
You weren't picking up. Anyway, I'd really hate to cut this little get-together short, but I need to be somewhere else. Come on, Isabella, let's get you home. I'll drop you off on the way.
Wait, we're going now?
He lightly claps a hand on her arm and begins ushering her out of the apartment, throwing a casual wave at me as they pass. Isabella, on the other hand, doesn't appear to be fond of the idea. Yeah, we've been cooking breakfast or lunch all day, and then you just take her away. Like, what the fuck? I made a meal for two, and now you're just poop out of the way? Sure enough, before they can even cross the threshold, she puts a firm foot down, the force alone enough to halt them both and catch the taller man off guard. Would have made for a funny picture. The way Ash almost crashes into her and Isabella giving him an indignant pout over her shoulder. Surprise and confusion are in his face all at once. Two things that rarely ever grace it if it can help it. If he can help it. A rare moment even for our small group. If only I had my camera with me. Dang.
What is it?
Zach cooked something.
If it's just food, I'll get you something on the way back.
But the food! It's Zach's cooking. Real delicious food that actually tastes like food.
How many times did you say food in that sentence?
At least stay and have a bite, please. Zach, help me here.
These two. Whenever they're in the same room, sometimes it feels like they're herding a group of unruly kids instead of talking to two mature adults. One moment they're engaged in a pleasant chit-chat, and the next they're bickering over a minor issue. Frankly, if I didn't know any better, I'd have an overreactive imagination and say there's something going on. Never mind how utterly impossible that idea is. Or it might just be me reading too much into things like always. I can already hear Ash's laughter, if I so much as suggest such. This, however... This is tough. Chat, I'll leave this up to you guys. And we'll save here just in case. Should we stay for the food? Or let them go? A lot of chat so far is the feast. Food, 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 feast, 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 food. The fuds. Looks like it's food.
I don't know about you two, but I think you guys should really stay. I've already made enough food for all of us, and it'd be a waste. Why, I cooked up that special honey glazed ham you two keep on yapping about. Got some scalloped potatoes with onions and cheddar to go with it too.
The oven timer dings. Wait. Ashton's also went up. I shoot the two of them an apologetic look before soldering over to the kitchen, mittens in hand. The sweet smell of the glaze and salty tang of melted cheese wafts through the air as soon as I open the door and take out the two trays inside. The scent immediately fills the entire room, and even when the door and windows open, the mouth-watering aroma lingers. Yep, that's me right now. It's appealing enough that when I put the dishes down on the counter, another starved stomach protests loudly, followed by a burst of laughter. My head snaps at the two of them, and I can't keep back the smile at the sight they make. Isabella is clinging to the door frame for support, doubled over with the breathless laughter. Ash is the more composed of the two, trying to look unconcerned, but a flush has crept up his neck and cheeks. It's clear whose stomach that came from, and Isabella's not gonna let him live this down.
You're in no place to reject an offer of free food, Frey.
I wasn't rejecting anything.
Yeah, okay.
Damn it, I just missed a meal, that's all.
Aw, he's flustered.
Shut it! Those guys at the precinct said it was urgent. Somebody has to be responsible for it.
Well, aren't you precious?
Right. You know, if you keep laughing like that, you'll burst.
I'm sure it won't be as bad as your stomach suddenly rumbling like a starved.
Aye, kiddos, play nice. Food's gonna get cold if we keep this up. Ash, you gonna stay?
Might as well, since Scaredy Cat's so hell-bent on staying.
Yeah, and you don't want any of the food. Oh, yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum, yum. A hearty meal. Achievement unlocked. We eventually settled down after the food has been served. The jibes really replaced by another round of friendly chatter, mostly about what's on the news the night before. There is, however, a conscious effort to avoid mentioning what's currently on the headlines. The dead is never a good topic to talk over food in polite company. This case in particular. The wounds are too fresh. Too soon. Ash is kinda cute, says Psycho Kitty. I keep saying I would love to frickin' I don't know if any like sewing people are out there, but I would love to have a jacket like that. A gray one, not so much a white one, but I could totally cosplay as him. I've got the hair for it right now. Maybe not, I don't know. Kinda long. I just need that anime look, the animu look. Okay. I'd like to avoid it as well if I were in her position. In some way, a person I knew passed away in a gruesome manner like it. Though perhaps the closest we got to broaching the topic is when the infamous mansion is brought up again. But even then, we're careful, Ash and I. We keep the conversation light and avoid bringing up her late business partner. It's the least we could do.
Yeah, they're planning to move in soon. In fact, they already have a housewarming party planned. It's why they wanted us to rush the papers. They wanted to send the invitations out as soon as possible.
Oh, now I get it.
Get what?
Remember what I told you last night about the new clients?
Vaguely? Sorry, I was a little out of it yesterday.
I gotta shave. I can do that. I gotta shave my little thing though.
Was it the photo shoot?
Yep, it's actually for the one you sold. Ermine. Something.
Ermagog!
When you put it that way, I suppose it makes sense why my boss wants me to prioritize the couple. They can have those documents rushed at just a snap of their fingers. And they're more influential than I initially thought. Man, I guess my boss is expecting a lot more from this project than I expected. Hope I can live up to it.
Your photographs are more than good enough, Zach. You'd probably win an international award if you let yourself.
When am I gonna travel to Europe? Joker, I've been wanting to, man. I want to soon. I had plans to do it with Gar and Marie. I want to say last year we planned on it, but I'm hoping to make a European trip. Just Marie and I, maybe like next year sometime. Be a lot of fun. I would like to go on just like a 2 week. 2 weeks might be a long time, but when you go to Europe or you come to the States, it's hard to stay for just like a week. There's not enough that you can see in just a week.
Ma'am Hana's easy to please too, as long as you're good at following instructions.
Easier said than done. Different clients have different tastes after all.
Still, a week? I don't think that's possible.
Now that you mentioned it, yeah. They wanted everything finished at the earliest.
Bye.
To be honest, it's not unheard of, but...
But it's still weird.
I don't know. Not forever, because we have to record tonight, apparently.
Well, you should stop with it. So
I will, Marie. I got it. I know.
Still weird, yeah?
Slip of the tongue. Still barely noticeable to someone who's already familiar with Ash's ways, yet in this moment, it's impossible to miss. I shoot him a curious glance, but he ignores it. Rather pointedly.
I can't exactly say it's like that, where I'm just the middleman after all. As much as I want to comment on it, I only know what's on the surface, not the in and outs. It's just that BRC and my boss are more hands-on with the legal stuff this time, despite having a separate department dedicated to it.
Maybe Mr. Wright helped with it too. They have their own legal team for this, don't they?
Well, they should have one. Especially for a big property like this.
They have, but like I said, it's off our hands. Rose and I don't handle this stuff in the office.
Sounds good, Joker.
If anything, to me, this just means I'll be able to send the rest of the funds to Papa's treatment earlier.
I guess that makes a whole lot of sense. Officially off our instant noodle diet, aren't we?
Yeah, buddy.
Ash, has anyone ever told you that you have an uncanny way of ruining the mood?
What? I was just saying. A few more months of stuffing your face with those, and I'm sure you'll start to look like a noodle cup. That's a pretty picture.
At least I don't live off convenience store food. Or make poor, unassuming pressure cookers explode.
What? How did you... Oh, come on, Zach.
Sorry, it just came up while we were cooking earlier.
I'm impressed, Ashton Frey. You even made it to the news.
A one-time thing. And it wasn't as big as you seem to be imagining.
Oh, sure. Let's all pretend that one time you almost set my apartment on fire didn't happen too.
My God.
Hey, that was an accident.
You were making a salad, Ash.
Can we please move on to a different topic?
He almost burned down the apartment because he was making a salad. It helps. The casual talk, the harmless teasing, the mundane story interesting enough to let time pass unnoticed. By the time lunch ends, the shadows are no longer at forefront of my mind. If it's the same for Isabella, for whatever troubles her, I can never tell. These things, the anxiety, the fear, they ain't easily seen, ain't easily forgotten after all.
You go on ahead. I've got a few things I need to ask Zach. I'll be downstairs in a minute.
Confusion briefly flashes in her eyes as she catches the keys he tosses over. But he doesn't give her an answer and waves for her to go ahead.
How sure are you I won't be driving away with your Shirley?
You don't even have a license. Do you even know how to?
Papa taught me how. I'm probably a better driver than you.
Probably.
See you later, Zach. Thanks for the food.
Always has to have the last word, don't you?
You're welcome. I'll send you the recipe for the potatoes tonight.
Sweet. A grin is back on her face when she leaves and closes the door behind her. For a little while after we're left alone, Ash goes wholly quiet, listening, waiting for her remaining footsteps in the hall to fade. The earlier amusement is gone from his face, replaced by what I can only describe as trepidation. I know that look all too well. When he's like this, he's expecting shit about to go down at some point, soon.
That wasn't very nice, Ash. What was that with Isabella earlier? You're usually subtler with your questions.
They hired you.
Hired me who? Don't change the subject yet. What's really going on here?
The Wrights. Luke and Hannah Wright. You said your next gig is with them.
Is that what this is all about?
Just be careful around them. You have no idea what you're dealing with when it comes to that couple. I'd rather you stay as far away from them as possible, but you're already here. Isabella's their real estate agent. Seriously, of all the people in Luxburn.
I think Ash knows something about possibly Luke that he really doesn't like.
Okay. I guess I'll just have to take your word for it.
He nods, claps a comforting hand on my back, and turns to leave without another word. He's never been good with those. More often he fumbles with what he wants to say, but his actions alone aren't enough to tell me how grateful he is for the trust. He reaches for the knob as soon as he gets to the door, but doesn't turn it. Instead, he looks back and gestures with his head toward the table. I don't need to follow his line of sight to know what he's going to ask about. He's likely taken notice of it the moment he entered the room.
You back on those? I haven't seen you taking them in a year.
Yeah, I kinda had to. It got worse after the film fest. The dreams, that is.
I think he's mentioning about the pills.
I don't think I'll be doing that again anytime soon.
Heard about that. Don't drop it, though. You don't want Becca scolding you. She actually enjoyed the movie you made, and she's hard to please. Consider that a small victory.
You don't have to tell me. She already did. Rebecca and Bella both gave me an earful after I said the opposite. Promised them I wouldn't, but you can never tell. Hopefully, once I feel better, I'll be able to think about it properly. Speaking of Bella, she didn't open up to me, but maybe with you and Rebecca.
Yeah, I'll try. I can't promise anything, but I'll talk to her.
Thanks. That's all I'm asking.
This time, when he reaches for the door, he lets it close fully behind him without glancing back. A mild draft sweeps into the room as I close the door behind him, slightly disturbing the papers on the nearby fridge. A lone note flutters by my feet, the letters on the surface glaring at me with mute intensity. Ermengarde Mansion, H. Wright, 11 a.m. After Ashton's warning, they all hold a different meaning now. All right. The next 2 days rushed by in a blur, altogether leaving a collective mess of work suddenly piling up and new unexpected acquaintances or friends. Depends on how you look at it, really. So I think this is after the photo shoot. Either way, I'm stuck in developing these photos at 3 in the morning to reach a deadline set by an overeager art director. Don't get me wrong, Julius is good, has a vision, and he knows what he wants. But damn, he can be too enthusiastic sometimes.
Doesn't matter when you couldn't sleep anyway.
There's nothing new in it, of course. After years of working as a freelance photographer, it's simply something I have grown used to. Something's on the tape. Something's on the roll film. Get to know people, build a client base, do good work, and cash in some late hours if need to be. Rinse and repeat. Certainly takes a while to get some footing on the field, but it's that kind of thing that pays off in the long run as long as you keep at it. Given enough time, you might end up with the big names on your client list. Names like the Wrights, in particular. Ugh. I never did pay much attention to them, but it's virtually impossible not to hear about them when a local news channel or paper has something to say on their name. A party here, an acquisition there. Sometimes it's a new business venture. Other times it's the new everyday gossip that typically follows popular people like them. Not in a million years did I ever imagine I would end up working for such a high-profile couple. And between that and the fuss that comes with, it leaves me no time to ponder over whatever happened to Isabella or why Ash is so adamant we keep away from the pair.
They do seem like the good folk, though, despite the whole fame thing.
Sure. There was a rumor running around years ago about him being involved in some business scandal. But just like every gossip blown out of proportion by the media, nothing came of it, and eventually it simply died down. Much is definitely left to be said for the husband, but I doubt a woman like Miss Wright would pick him if he doesn't have any good points at all. Miss Wright, Anna herself, though. She ain't particularly bad the way the press makes her out to be. The tabloids had it all wrong, that's for sure. For someone born with a silver spoon in her mouth, well, she ain't exactly what I was expecting. Among other things, a newfound friendship is what I least expected from her, but here we are. Although, with a life as public as the Wrights, no wonder it's the woman who often gets the crappy end of the stick. Can't help feel sorry for her. She's a real nice person when given the chance. Heck, she might even have ended up friends with Rebecca and Isabella, too, if they weren't living worlds apart. Probably. The beep quickly pulls me back from before my thoughts travel any further. In one practice motion, I carefully place the wet print I'm holding on a drying rack and amble over my makeshift darkroom to get the last photos from the water bath. Inside the converted broom closet, the film processor lets out another soft clack before going on in standby mode. At its mouth, a lone photograph sits on the tray, barely visible with the lack of light. It's the last one tonight for the set Miss Wright requested. I don't usually make this a habit, given my stuff, that is. It's bad for business, no matter how well-intentioned or generous you are. This exception, however. She did treat me well and was a pleasant companion all throughout the shoot. Even if she didn't ask, I would have probably given her a few prints just for the hell of it. Miss Wright ain't half bad. Miss Wright ain't such a bad subject matter to begin with. Maybe it's just me, but for someone who has everything at the palm of her hands, all the money in the world, loving husband, and plenty big mansion to call home, she's lonely. She just doesn't appear to like it. She just doesn't appear like it. It shows in the tone of her voice, how she moves, and most certainly in her smiles, always hidden behind the glamour for the world to never see. Sometimes for people like her, small things like these helps. A little reminder that the world can be kind too. Water drips from the paper as I blindly pick it up and gently lay it on another tray holding a decent amount of photo flow. A few seconds into the solution is all I need before it's ready for drying. No good rushing this last one, even if my body's already screaming for some decent snooze. My hand fumbles from the light switch, moving towards it with familiarity, while I fish for a squeegee among the mess of tools on a drawer with the other. The bulb flickers twice before a glow settles and casts a soft light in the tiny space. When I glance back down, squeegee in hand, ready to finish the process and finally call it a night.
What on earth?
Fuck. Oh. Her head is gone. Blurred and distorted, beyond recognition rather. The area completely smudged over, leaving no trace of the same sweet smile the good woman carried in all the previous prints.
Damn, that was too careless.
Common mistake to make, of course, if one is negligent enough to pick a newly processed photo in the dark, like I apparently did. It has happened before. Loads of times, actually. But I still can't help but feel a small pang of frustration over one mistake a newbie would likely make. With a sigh, I reach up for the switch again, intending to develop a new one from scratch.
It could pass off for one of those supernatural pictures they show on TV, though.
A memory clicks. One cursory thought in the sea of many, and a short yet distant second from the day before. A glimpse is all I got, but it's enough to burn the image in my mind. There was a shadow. Oh, fuck. No. A woman. In her 20s or early 30s, maybe. But with how far gone her flesh was become, it's not possible to tell at first glance. The skin itself has already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts. Blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Bony hands grip Miss Wright's neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes.
Zachary?
Not for me, but for Mrs. Wright.
Zach, is something the matter?
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something that's all. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
The memory alone is enough to make me retch. I brushed it off then. A trick of the eye. I told myself, or a product of the heat. The weather has been unexpectedly warm recently, so it shouldn't be too surprising for such things to happen. And, well, blaming this on the usual fatigue or an overworked brain, the weather, or an amateur error on my part, is far more convenient. Makes a whole lot of sense when then the small voice inside my head whispers. The same tiny voice that only makes itself known when something's afoul. The same one that lent a curious ear to Isabella's worries about the mansion. With each second I spend staring at this photograph, The murmurs in my head only grow louder against my ears. Someone has to know. I'm gonna show Ash. Is this before or after she found the necklace? This is before she found the necklace. Ash will give me flack for this, he will. I can already hear what he's gonna say about this moment I bring it up. Hell, before he even sees anything, I'll wager. This guy's a skeptic through and through. And it'll take more than my account for him to even consider this. But when you've been there, seen something enough to raise the hairs at the back of your neck and leave you wanting to flee or hide, what he thinks is the least of my concerns. I'm no hero. That's a title best reserved for someone else. Still, if this'll help him change his mind, it's worth a try. So showing her would be okay at this point? Well, she's already seen the woman. And I don't know. We need to prove it to Ash, and for right now, us seeing this is the day after, right? What day? Okay, she found the necklace on the 29th. I did these pictures on the 27th. So this is before Anna before she's possessed. Her possession is the last thing that we have in our book here. Isabella's gone and done the same thing, didn't she? Outside, the sun is yet to rise. Still got a few hours before dawn. Good enough time to mull over how I'll go about this with him. Plenty of space to check if I'll get the same result if I redo the process again. Film processor hums back to life at my touch. Light switch gives out a soft click and darkness embraces the small closet again.
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
Sometimes I wish Ash would make himself easier to find. 24 messages, 13 phone calls, and 1 visit to his flat later. Still have no idea which rock in Luxembourg he went off to hide under again. It's Luxborn. I don't know why I keep saying Luxembourg. The guy has his own place, but refuses to stay in it. That's true, Nee. Has his own phone, but doesn't answer any of his calls or give any indication he's gotten my messages. Most of the time, he'll just show up on my front door. Oh! Balls. Sorry. Sometimes in the middle of the night, complaining how uncomfortable it is to sleep at the back of his his car. As if the old couch in my flat is any better. Nothing new from him, though, but a bit frustrating, really. There's the police precinct, of course. Then again, he's not there most of the time either. And if that's also true for today, he's likely out on another stakeout. There's nothing much to do for me but wait to see if that's the case.
Let's just hope I'm lucky enough today.
While Luxborn is a relatively peaceful city boasting a low crime rate, its precinct stays abuzz with activity. As soon as I open the glass front doors, murmurs coming from the people waiting in the lobby welcome me. Officers can occasionally be seen shuffling in and out of the rooms, greeting civilians with a casual smile and a polite nod. Some, though, look a little worse for wear, like the receptionist who looked at me with much disdain the moment I arrived. Thankfully, I won't have to deal with him today. Before I can even step in, Ashton's voice, though low, comes from the hallway adjacent to the lobby.
Not even for just 1 minute?
No. The case was dismissed, remember?
You were the one handling that case.
If you want access to those records, you've got to ask Chief. I was taken off it before shit went to hell. Why do you even bother? Even Professor Clark seems to have given up on that.
Well, never mind, you won't understand.
Right. I know you owe Professor Clark a lot, but the right guy isn't just someone you mess with. They've got the money. Who knows what else gets swept under the rug with them involved.
That takes a special kind of ignorant not to know.
And a smart person to know which boundaries he can't cross. You're a bright guy, you'll figure it out. In any case, I've got to get going. Another missing person case on my hand. Benjamin on the front desk looks like he's about to maul someone after the 4th one yesterday. Murders, people missing. What a time to be alive. Man, I miss the old Luxburn.
You and me both. I'll see ya. Gonna go grab some lunch.
He notices me as soon as he enters the lobby and pauses. Confusion briefly crosses his face until I fish out the phone from my pocket and wave it up. Frowning, he pulls his own mobile out, wordlessly fiddling with it for a few seconds before sighing heavily. There ain't any annoyance set in him when he glances up, though. Only mild exasperation and what might be a hint of amusement.
Stop taking pointers from Isabella. This is gonna get old soon.
At least use your phone properly.
It's an alarm clock, a good note-taking device, a halfway decent camera, and maybe a music player too. If I'm being nice. What else do I need it for?
I don't know, keeping in contact maybe?
When he merely shrugs, I know I've struck a chord. He's far from holding the piece of technology in contempt, of course. Ash has always been nothing but practical from the start, and technology is useful. Only when he gets too focused on one thing like a case he's handling, he tends to forget that there's other things around him. A little reminder and a nudge in the right direction can get him a long way.
I've got an email on that social media site the girls roped us into joining.
That doesn't make any sense. Also, you've got an account before any of us had one.
For policing purposes? Anyway, why are you here? I thought you have something scheduled today. Or was that yesterday?
That was yesterday. Look, about that, there's something I want you to see.
He stops me with a tap on my shoulder, walks past me straight to the door, and gestures with his head towards the very irked receptionist when I raise an eyebrow in question.
Over lunch. I haven't eaten anything since last night, and Benjamin there doesn't really like loiterers around here.
Wordlessly, I follow after him, but not after sending the poor guy behind the table an apologetic smile. As expected, he takes a seat in the farthest corner of the cafe, a good way far from the window, but easily allows a view of who comes and goes. Secluded enough not to be disturbed by the lunch hour rush or be overheard by a curious bystander. If I didn't know this is lunch he invited me to, I would have automatically assumed I just got dragged into another stakeout. After years of knowing him, though, this has simply become one of the many habits I've gotten used to. Food arrives minutes later. Woo! Oh my god. Who the fuck is that in the cup? Is that Ashton in the cup? Is that him in the cup of coffee? A slice of the vegetarian quiche. Quiche, it's quiche. A slice of the vegetarian quiche for me. Meanwhile, Ashton has opted for a cup of coffee plus a gracious serving of...
You having cake for lunch?
He shrugs and then proceeds to dig in without even a hint of remorse. Frankly, it's like seeing a child get his Christmas present early.
Don't tell Becca. I'll get an earful. It's just for today.
You should listen to her, though. The kind of work you do, you'll need to eat something other than sweets. I don't want to see you drop dead in front of my apartment again.
I told you, just this once. Have you been hanging out with Becca lately? You're beginning to sound like her.
Nah, just for some recipes. But she has the right to worry, you know? It's like she's taking care of 2 kids. One bitches on sweets, while the other on cup noodles. At least Bella knows how to cook.
Hey, I can at least boil something.
Without setting the house on fire like you did making the salad?
Wait, that's easy, right? I mean, you just put water in and...
No, don't even think about it. You destroyed your own kitchen once by sticking a pressure cooker on it. I think my sister is a whole lot better than you. And this is coming from someone who has no other choice but to eat her cooking for some time.
Megan, thank you for the 20 bits. I appreciate that. To be fair, he genuinely appears offended at the last remark. Hate will be too strong of a word to describe how Sissa and him usually interact whenever they're in the same room. Though, whatever appropriate word it is, I can say with most certainty that the feeling's mutual for both. Ash thinks she nags too much, while Sis thinks he's a trouble magnet I should stay away from. They're both technically right on their assessments.
How's your sister, by the way? Still bullying white guys?
She's married to one now. You're the one who started it.
You do know she's married to one now.
Did that go up a lot? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I hope she doesn't end up poisoning him with her cooking.
Pot calling the kettle black?
She can't be better than me.
Actually, she is now. They're planning to start a restaurant sometime in the future.
Oh damn, get wrecked.
I was bedridden for days after eating some of the stuff she whipped up. And now you're letting her cook for other people?
Don't exaggerate. It was just for one day and you're the one who refused to leave your apartment. You should come by though. Sis gave birth a few days ago. Girl, I've only seen the pictures. But I might visit sometime after everything's settled down. Too many backlogs to go through for now.
No way in hell. She'll just find something to criticize again. Last time, it was Shirley.
He makes a show of being utterly mortified, though I'm quite sure he doesn't mean any of that. He might not say it straight out, but I'm pretty sure he's enjoying the small visits whenever he can. Something about it reminds me of his own family. Sort of like making up for the one he never got back after his parents separated. Sore spot, that one topic. One thing he never ever brings up in any conversation, if he can help it. And I've never seen the need to be nosy. There are some wounds you're just not meant to open. And for the both of us, the sentiment goes the same way.
As if you ain't already on a shit list. You're just afraid of her.
In your dreams. But I'll think about it. Can't just drop this thing at the moment.
Apologies. His change in tone is subtle, but his aggravation over the matter hangs completely palpable in the air.
Still no closer?
The opposite, actually. There's been some slip-ups here and there. Careless mistakes, and let's just say I'm waiting for him to make another one. What about you? How are things on your end?
All piled up on top of the other. But I can manage. Still recovering from the expenses for the movie, so the surge in new projects helps. Well, there's this one thing.
Oh, the expression on his face grows more puzzled with each photo I spread on the table. There's about 8 of them. All of it reprints of the same thing. Just miswrites the distorted head on the photos. He takes a minute to go through each, eyeing the prints warily. The furrow on his brow doesn't ease even as he gathers all of it onto one pile and sets them into one neat stack in front of me with a heavy sigh.
Hana, right?
Yeah. How did you...
The locket. She never takes it off.
She did for another necklace.
Evan's family heirloom.
I won't even think about asking why or how he knows that. If he's investigating them, he'll likely have already dug up a very unimaginable dirt on them, including family history.
Are you done with your work with them?
Yesterday, yeah. It's just a small feature for a magazine. Interviews, photos, standard stuff, nothing big. But see, here's the thing. I don't know how else to put this out there without sounding crazy, but there really is something odd with that place. Remember the letter?
He drags in a breath, reaches up his nose and pinches it like the action alone will help grant him all the patience in the word to continue this. Patience in the word. I think it's supposed to be patience in the world to continue this conversation.
Please tell me this isn't about that again.
No, Ash, you've got to listen this time.
I am listening, and I can't believe that just came out of your mouth. These are some blurred out photos, and that letter is just a stupid prank. I expected this from Isabella, not you.
You're the photographer here. I don't see any need to get worked up over this.
I know what you mean, but will you hear me out first?
Ash leans back on his seat and doesn't say anything further. He gestures for me to continue with a wave of his hand, impatient clearly on his face. Any other person telling him this and he'll walk out without batting an eye. I suppose the only reason he's giving me the benefit of the doubt is because we know each other.
Ash, I don't easily buy into these things as much as you do. Yesterday, though, behind Hana.
He blinks at that, his eyebrow lifting momentarily before setting into a deep frown.
Hana? Since when were you on a first-name basis with the right missus?
Why does that even matter?
I thought you said this was just a gig.
His voice stays level, but the accusation in it is clear as day. It hits a nerve in me, somehow, more than that tone usually does. Of all the things I said, my connection to the rights is the first thing he points out. Fuck. Well, our favor with Ashton just went down. As much as I want to keep my own annoyance at bay, I can't stop it from seeping into my voice.
That's completely beside the point here, Ash.
I warned you, Zach.
I get it, alright? But you can't just expect me to turn it down after I made a commitment to a client. I've got to put food on my table.
I didn't say you shouldn't, but you should not be messing with them.
I wasn't messing with them.
And this isn't?
He waves the photos in front of me before dropping the pile on the table with a loud smack. I don't need to look to know when we've already attracted some attention from the lunchtime crowd. Besides, turning away from him almost feels the same as admitting he's right. There are things more important than his damn case right now. I wish you'd see that.
It was a job, and that ain't how these photos were intended to come out. You think I'd go out of my way just to edit something like this? There's something weird going on here.
And you think Luke Wright will see it that way? You think the right missus will find it amusing?
I did not do this for my amusement, Ash. People's lives might be at stake here.
If you understood that in the first place, we wouldn't be having this stupid talk. Luke fucking Wright is a dangerous man, Zach. Keep hanging around them and you'll find yourself burnt to a crisp in your apartment or floating down a river 3 days later.
Very vivid detail there, Ash. Ravens, don't think of the bit. My day's going pretty well. And Pikachu897, happy birthday. Hope you have a great birthday, dude. Happy birthday. I'm reading chat on what Raccoon Skunk Guy says. I think Ash might be a sensitive who doesn't want to be mocked or feel vulnerable, so part of why he pushes so hard against stuff is he wants the reviews to believe himself.
This case is...
Will you stop talking about the damn case for once and just listen to me? Why do you think Isabella's...
Don't you dare bring her into this. We're talking about you and this stupid...
Oh, of course you don't want to talk about it. Because you're fucking afraid there's some damn truth to what she's saying now that there's two of us.
Shit. Jackie, thank you for the 100 bits. This is weird how Zach said it, you know, the happier people, you don't want to anger them. Zach is a very happy person. You did not want to anger him. Every expression drains from his face as soon as the words are out of my mouth. They've hit their mark. Each utterance scathed, sharp, with nothing but anger in the truth. Yet, they are also things I won't typically say out loud in good company and rather ease people into it before letting it all fail. I think you needed to slap him. He needed to be hit with something. Because Ash was just being an arrogant asshole. Almost immediately, a wave of regret washes over me.
Ash, dude, that ain't what I meant to.
You said enough, Zach.
Without another word, he stands, his chair scraping loudly against the floor, all while my brain races to find something to fix this. Ours ain't a fragile friendship by any means. I like to think we've gone past the stage when we find everything the other says insulting. But there are times when letters and phrases alone can cut deeper than any blade. Mine might even leave a scar. He doesn't let me, however. Instead, he sets a card in front of me. The name is familiar, but amidst the cloud of remorse swirling inside my head, I can't bring myself to recall where I've seen it.
You shouldn't be running blind. Call this guy. He'll be less inclined to shout at you. Might even talk some sense into you.
I don't see his face when he leaves. And it is the only story that it is only when the store bell chimes again do I breathe. Of all the places that never crossed my mind, I'll end up wandering to the public library today, considering I rarely ever visit. Somehow, there's always been this kind of disconnect between me and books in general. Sure, some of them held my attention in my youth during the brief times the day I was left to my own with nothing to do. I went through the whole of Grant's collection, as a matter of fact. Read all of them twice, or thrice even. Megan the Ninja asked, so this is a slight choose-your-own-adventure type game? To a degree, yeah. Horror visual novel, which is cool, because if you guys ever play this, you guys could choose the different things that I choose, and, you know, get different relationship statuses with different people. But they never did hold it for long. Most of it never even stuck. Especially after I learned it's simple, easier to do things myself. I wanted to learn stuff. This ain't in the plan in the first place. But after that argument, I really don't have any other choice. Nothing but quiet greets me inside, though. Not the typical mum one would associate with the library, but one akin to a hush prior to an impending trouble. Or perhaps I'm just overthinking again. I really like to think I'm just thinking too much about this. That this is just a lack of sleep talking. Regardless, apart from a group of students murmuring in a corner somewhere, this place is free of its usual visitors. All while my footsteps echo in a manner unsettling enough to raise the hairs on the back of my neck. Much to my relief, it doesn't take me long to find him, being the only occupant in this side of the room. Professor Andrew Clark. I've never personally met the man, but Ash has spoken highly of him several times. In fact, he is Ash's go-to guy when someone is troubling him with a case. My steps are unsure as I approach. At any rate, he greets me with a warm smile like a grandson he hasn't seen in a long time.
Ashton's friend, I take it. Zachary. You'll have to forgive this old man if I don't get your name right.
Oh no, you got it. It's Zach. Zachary Steele, Professor Clark.
He gestures at the empty seat across the table while he returns to his books. The next couple of minutes pass in relative silence as he continues to read and take notes from the pile he's accumulated on the table. Maybe I should have taken a book before heading here. But before I can even get far into that idea, the professor clicks the book shut and sets it atop the stack next to him. Ravenson, think a bit. What did I miss? Oh, I'm not gonna go back and tell you everything we've done in the last 2 hours. I apologize, Ravenson. What is it? Anna got cursed with the necklace she found in her attic. And Zach found the disturbing picture of Anna we took previous day.
Ashton told me you were hoping to get answers from me. He sent a message ahead. A friend needs to have some sense knocked into him. In verbatim.
At my confused look, he lets out a small chuckle.
He sent a message ahead. A friend needs to have some sense knocked into him. In verbatim. That boy never changes.
I wasn't really expecting he'd do that.
Although I'm not quite sure what I could share, I'll do my best to help.
Of course, there are a lot of things I want to ask. How do we get out of this mess is the first among tens, hundreds of concerns in my head. But in the presence of someone I barely know, the thoughts won't easily form. He is nothing but patient, however, and with enough time to mull over a question, a question finally forms.
Do you believe in the paranormal, Professor?
It's supernatural, actually. Don't worry. It's a common mistake to make, but they really are two different things. The other one deals with what we can't explain at the moment, while the other are things we may not have an explanation to.
That's a very interesting take on it that I've never actually really known.
Here.
He places a couple of papers in front of me, the very same one he was writing on earlier. A study of Luxborn's supernatural culture in a nutshell.
A friend of mine wrote that a few years ago. He took interest in the city after reading about the stories. I have to agree with him here. Even stories dealing with things you don't see with the naked eye can be rife with culture. and this city thrives on it. Just ask the locals.
Like ghosts, for example.
Among other things. The interpretation has changed over the years, though. Various religions, for example, have their own version. It might not always be a spirit now. It could be a memory, or an imprint, an echo, so to speak. Some are born from curses, even, out of great anger, hatred, or pain.
Curses, you say?
There was this one story. Ah, here it is.
Another book is pulled out from the stack and placed upon top the papers, while he speaks with such passion that it makes me wonder if some part of him believes these to be true. It is interesting, though, even if I'm personally not a fan of such stories. And soon hours passed without my notice.
In the end, it asked for something to be sacrificed in order to destroy whatever anchors the wraith.
Excuse me?
A sad tale, that one. But the simplest grudge can bring the ugliest, even in the kindest person, with some people none the wiser.
Can we sacrifice Luke? I'm alright with sacrificing Luke.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just went on.
Nah, it's good. Are you familiar with the Ermengarde mansion, though?
Of course. That goes without saying. Who hasn't heard of the local legend? In fact, you aren't the first one to ask me about that recently. Although, word of the mouth is, someone has already bought it.
Ah, yeah. The right couple. It was a close friend who handled that sale.
So I heard. Well, don't think the house being bought by anyone would stop us from talking about it. What is it about the mansion, then?
I just want to ask what you think of it, sir.
We're going to need more than an afternoon for that, young man. You see, it's the kind that has changed over the years, passed down from one person to the next. Sometimes, it's the Lord William who haunts the place. There are versions where it's the lady of the house. But my favorite, a personal favorite, would have to be the ones that followed after the disappearance of the kind daughter.
That's right, they did have a daughter.
Well, what about these then?
There's a moment of hesitation on my part before I pull out Mrs. Wright's photos and lay them all in front of him. Unlike Ash, though, the professor inspects each print with great interest. That gives me some hope, at least.
When were these taken?
Here's some advice, Professor, I got an achievement unlocked.
Just the other day. Do you think those are the same?
Perhaps. Perhaps not. There were certainly instances when the film would pick up what the human eyes weren't able to see. But then, it could also have been human error.
I didn't edit it in any way. You have my word on that, Professor. They all just came out like that.
Then, if it is what you're thinking, I'd strongly advise against doing something reckless and further tangling with them. Accounts about them may be riveting to you, but most of it often ends in an unpleasant manner.
What about those people in the house? If there is something in there, shouldn't they know? I'm sure they're already familiar with the legends, but...
Some people might deserve it, however.
Deserve what, sir?
All of a sudden, the tenderness in the professor's eyes disappears, his face becoming unreadable. As though catching himself, he hastily clears his throat, gathering his books, and rises from his seat.
Professor?
I'm sorry. I just remembered something I neglected to do. You'll have to excuse me, Zachary.
All right. Do you need any help with that?
Don't let my looks fool you, son. I can still carry a few hundreds. I've been doing this for years. I'll see you some other time if you have any other questions.
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
Of course. It was nice knowing you, Professor.
He doesn't hear it, however. In a few short strides, he's out of the library, leaving me and every piece of this whole mess amidst the oppressive stillness. Okay. Wonder what the professor has against the Wrights, says Lucas. Yeah, I agree. I wonder if the professor knows something that he's just not telling us. Despite the answers gleaned, more questions surfaced. If there's even a single way out of this, I hope we find it soon. Jess, thank you for the 5 bits. Well, the moon is well into the night sky by the time I make it back home. My heavy treads and the sound of traffic outside echoing in my ears, filling the empty room with some semblance of life. Nana would scold me if she ever hears me walk like that, but after today I really can't give a damn about everything. The mattress creaks under my weight as I unceremoniously flop down on it, and I find myself looking at the paper under my grip. Oh. An invitation and a request to cover an event. The Wrights housewarming party tomorrow evening. Yeah, if only that easy. But it'll give me a chance to talk to her. Shadow Queen, thank you for 10 bits. How am I doing today? Well, I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for 10 bits. About that thing in her house. With a sigh, I let my hand fall to the side of my bed along with the invitation. I'll think about it tomorrow when my head ain't muddled with thoughts of a headless woman and the haunting smiles of a ghost. Belated, it occurs to me that the last meal I ate had been the one with Ashton. And an empty, gnawing ache makes itself known. I can't help myself to stand back up. Today was a complete waste of time, and frankly, a disappointment. I don't like this. The lack of certainty, the disquiet, the lack of stable ground to stand on. The part where I do not know what'll come tomorrow. Ever since the damn letter, everything has been thrown out of the loop. I wish everything stayed the same. Shadow Queen, thank you for the 75 bits. Best be off, only came to say hi. Well, thank you for the 75 bits and saying hi, Shadow Queen. Have a good one. Routine would have made it easier to make sense of than this. Closing my eyes, I'll let the noise from the street below lull me to sleep. At the very least, that's the one thing that hasn't changed. October 29th, Saturday. The melody carries into the hall long before I cross the threshold. Automon, thank you for the bit, dude. Solemn, but gentle and soothing. A reminder of what home is. Pause, firm but meaningful gaze. Ma's wistful smiles. And the warm rays filtering through the eaves at sunset. The distinct smell of wet earth and leaves after a long day's rain and our room. The room. Ma and Pa's pride and joy. A place we were once promised several springs ago. Yet I won't stop.
No, wait! Come back! I'll be good this time! Please don't leave! Please stay!
The floorboards are cold under my feet. More than it usually is. The wall's more forbidding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases and Pa. I can't hear Pa. Not above the rakiest clanging and deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comfort soft melodies. I feel like we've done this already. There's only the blinding fear. But when the light breaks... Oh! Her skin has already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Bony hands grip Hannah's neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes. A scream ripples through the air. My whole body feels distant. Every limb heavy with lead, all unable to move at will. Not even so I can wipe the beads of sweat forming at my temple. The rasping of my breath easily fills the room in the wee hours, while I force it back into a steady rhythm. There's a tightness in my chest I can't shake off. My heart pounding against it as if it's about to burst out. Something cold has settled in my legs. Not the usual chill that comes and goes with the passing breeze from the window, but one strong enough to sting, shackle, and leave a frigid sensation creeping up my skin. With every struggle I make, the pressure winds firmly around my legs. Tighter, and tighter, and tighter. until it becomes too much. My heart stops. Another draft sweeps into the room and brings it with the iron tang of blood. Thick. Suffocating. Filling my nose with the foul, sickening smell as I shift my gaze downward and it slowly comes into view. Oh, fuck! Mouth stretched in a hideous smile and eyes brimming with nothing but sadness. Stench of gore taints the air around me and I can't look away from it, her, from the terror and death that her uncanny twisted features alone scream. Try to open my mouth to shout, to ask for any help, but my voice has left my body altogether. All I have is the painful realization that no kind of plea will ever save me from her. Then suddenly the bed dips. Oh, son of an actual fuck! Good luck sleeping tonight with that image in your head. The brutal plunge back into myself jerks me awake. There's no ear-splitting scream, no wild thrashing of limbs. Just a painful, constricting awareness that something has wounded itself tightly around my neck. I waste no second pulling a blanket away, but allow myself a few minutes to steady my breathing before getting off of the bed. Inhale, hold, exhale. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. But the dreams have gotten worse. Ever since 2 days ago, no longer are they small cursory flashes that I'm used to, but vivid ones that linger. I can still feel the blood in my hands, the putrid smell of rotting flesh, sickening crunch of bones breaking with every moment, and her cold, chilling eyes as they bore into me. I draw in one long, ragged breath, and before I know it, I'm walking out the door. Even in the waking world, it reeks. A bench on the park is far from the most private place for thoughts in Luxborn, but considering its location at the heart of a bustling city. But in the early hours of the morning, it provides enough peace and quiet for any poor problematic soul who happens to wander here. The city is just waking up, a little later than usual. But knowing what day it is, one can't fault it for being a little tardy just this once. Jackie, thank you for the 100 bits. Good thing I don't sleep anyway. Thank you for the 100 bits, Jackie. I appreciate that. Yet neither the pleasant morning chill nor the soft twittering of birds does anything to banish the images. Every single one has rooted itself in my head. Its claws digging deep in what is no longer a safe place to hide in.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Take a key and lock him up, lock him up, lock him up. Take a key and lock him up, my fair lady. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down.
It used to be easy finding some pretense of peace under the guise of sheer optimism following regular routine. I thought she said fuck him up. Fuck him up. Now I don't know what to make of it. Jackie, thank you with 100 bits. That's more horrifying than the creepy lady. Fuck him up! Fuck him up! Fuck him up!
Take a key and lock him up, my fair
Sometimes it's easier to run, easier to hide when everything's falling apart. That way, you don't have to be the first to witness it when it does. It worked when things went bad with the movie, after all. It worked when Ma and Pa were taken from us. Maybe it really is better if I just...
Hey, mister.
You have adorably colored, beautiful hair. I have a thing for chicks with blue hair. The tiny voice gives me a pause. Like Marie did her hair in blue. Frickin' loved it. I would dye my hair blue, but I think Mr. Cranky Gameplays would get mad at me if I did that, so... She looks adorable, though. Big blue eyes, her cute little pigtails, her cute little backpack. It's Abigail from Stardew Valley. Oh, you little adorable. When I look up, a little girl, maybe about 6 or 7, is peering at me. Ethan can suck a butt. 2 wide eyes, overflowing with what only could be natural curiosity one typically sees in children. I know he doesn't have blue hair anymore. Post. Thank you for the bit. I don't know. I'd still probably do purple for my hair. I still need to do that, which is probably Thursday. I vaguely note that St. Gordy uniform she's wearing before returning her greeting. Which, that is where Becca works.
Hey, kid.
Kylie.
Hi, Kylie.
Kylie?
That's my name. Mama said it's rude not to call people by their names.
She then flops down on the empty seat beside me. Her little legs still too short to touch the ground, swings in tune with a song she hums under her breath. Look at how adorable Kylie is.
Look at how adorable Kitty is.
Do you want to bring her here so we can see?
Wanna hold her?
Come here, sweetie. Hello. Hello. How are you? Oh, boops. Oh. Are you comfy?
She's gonna sit there the rest of the stream.
Yep. She's just
like that.
Look at her little paws. Look at her little paws. They're so adorable.
I love how everybody spams the emote like every time she shows up. It's so cute. Oh. That's great. No.
Oh, she's so cute. I'm probably gonna end in about 30 minutes. I'm just heavy into this story now.
You want me to make you something?
No, I'll come out and cook something.
Because I haven't eaten either.
Oh. Okay. All right. Cutie stuff about. Let's jump into the story. Her little legs, still too short to touch the ground, swings in tune with a song she hums under her breath. I don't mind kids. Nana would often invite the ones in our old neighborhood to give them treats. Of course, by then, Sis and I were both too old to play with them, but you get used to commotion eventually. It's not completely as unpleasant as most people would imply. Kylie seems to be a well-behaved kid anyway.
Oh, sorry. Nice to meet you, Kylie. Is Mama here?
No, but my big brother's with me. He's taking pictures with his camera over there.
She points to the far end of the park, the one closest to the street where a kid is taking shots of something above him. Doesn't look to be birds because all that there is on the side of the park are buildings.
I don't see what's so interesting with the tip of a building, though. I'd take pictures of dogs if I were him. They're cute.
Yeah, dogs are pretty cute.
Do you have a camera too, mister?
Yeah, I'm actually a photographer.
Mama said I'm too young to get a camera.
I'm sure your mama will eventually give you one. But won't you be late for school like this?
Big brother will get us there on time. Rowan promised Papa. We aren't going to be late. It's sports day. So it's not good if you keep looking like that today. If it ends up raining and we lose, it's your fault.
All right, I'll try not to upset the clouds today, kid.
That is adorable.
Is it because you're sick, mister?
Before I know it, a smile spread over my face. They say kids ask the toughest questions sometimes, and they sure do, with how sincere Kylie looks. Lying feels like doing her a huge disservice.
No, not sick. Just having a very, very bad day.
I don't know what sports day is.
Why is
but
that? Is that like when my big brother ate all of my pudding? He did that once and then cried. It wasn't very nice of him.
Yeah, I think so. You see, there's this mean girl. She's given my friends and I a lot of trouble. I even got in a fight with my best friend because of her. Hard to keep up when things are like that, you know? Especially when you can't do anything. It's kind of scary.
Sports
Makes you
Day
wish
is a
things will just stay as peaceful as they used to be.
Sports Day is a school event, a contest between classes. Ew.
Maybe she just wants to be friends with you?
I highly doubt that. She already hurt one of my friends.
What if she's just sad? Or maybe she just wants help.
Help, maybe. Jackie, thank you for the 100 bits. I don't trust this.
That's what happened with Melody. I let her borrow my crayon when she left hers. Now we're playmates.
It's not really the same thing, Kylie. What she did, they're pretty bad things.
I still think there's another reason. Did you try talking to her? That's what Mama said I should do.
I don't think that'll work either.
You haven't even tried yet. You sound like Rowan. You're just scared, mister.
That strikes a chord. Maybe it's the honesty in her tone or simply the truth in the words itself. I don't know why, but I can't help it. I laugh. Loud enough to disturb an elderly couple taking a leisurely walk nearby.
Why are you laughing?
That's nothing. You're a really smart kid, you know that?
That's what I've been doing, ain't it? Go full speed ahead, then backtrack when the going gets tough. Stay in my safe zone because that's what I know. Once Dr. Navarro said I should be the first one willing to deal with my problems before anyone else. I didn't show up on our next appointment after that. But he's right. And though I hate to admit it, knowing what I've seen, but the kid makes a good point too. I've been so caught up thinking there might not be a way out. Maybe there isn't. Maybe there is. That doesn't mean I should just leave it up to fate. Aren't spirits supposed to be humans before too? Had people they cared about lived a life of their own, smiled and laughed like the rest of us does? Do they really lose all of it after death?
You better get to school though, or you'll miss sports day. You should have won yourself some awards, alright?
Alright. Can I show it to you when I do? That can cheer people up, right?
In the distance, her brother calls for her, and I took that as a sign to leave. Got things to do, to face. To face. The first few steps, they say.
Nah, I'm good now, I think. Thanks to you. Besides, Mister needs to go. But you should show it to Mama and Papa. I'm sure they'll be proud of you, Kylie.
I will. Thanks, mister. Bye.
I gave her a little pat on the head before heading my way. Small gesture of thanks from a stranger she didn't know she might have helped. She may not understand it now, even though at such a young age she already has this understanding of things, but maybe when she's older. When the world no longer seems too big for her.
Aren't you going to help me, mister?
With what?
Confused, I glanced back. What the fuck? No! Whatever cheer or little talk brought has vanished under the shadows suddenly dancing in my eyes. Oh yeah, you guys can't see. Hold up.
But aren't you going to help me, mister?
This frigid air is most definitely not how the morning chill should feel like. Bitter, stinging, unwelcoming. Gark, thank you for 12 bits, dude. And the kid.
What do you think, mister? Are you going to help me?
Jackie, done 100 bits.
What do you want from us?
The response never comes, however, because when I blinked, gone.
Hello? Mister? Are you okay?
For several passing seconds, I let my stare linger on her face, waiting for any sign of another change. But all that remains is in there is the carefree smile of a child. None of the spite, none of the cold, bloody smile.
Nothing, huh? I really need to go, Kylie. It was nice meeting you.
See you again, mister!
Just fair, thank you for the 4 bits. Okay, that was disturbing. I break into a run. I don't look back, not even as I bump into a couple of passerbys as soon as I'm out on the busy streets. Going insane. That's what this is. And if we don't do something soon, we'll all be. The tremors following me even as I got home. I'd hoped the little stroll around the block for a few hours would help. Instead, I'm assaulted with more images of her. Her smile. The loathing in her eyes. The stench of gore. The horrid crunch that comes with every moment she makes. Chibi, thank you for the 5 bits. That little girl ain't so cute no more. No! Don't ever get pregnant. Even old memories have been sullied by her, and Ma's song no longer sounds as sweet as it meant to be. In the end, all I got is a sinking feeling. A sinking feeling I'll never be rid of her image. Another ridiculous idea that may or may not even work. The sun is already hanging low on the horizon when I make it back. And for the first time, coming home feels more like a chore. Only I didn't arrive to an empty room, because as soon as I open the door, I am greeted by none other than...
Sup, Z-Man?
I told you we should have called him before going here.
It's fine.
It's Ashton I see first, sitting comfortably on my couch, munching on a bag of chips with both feet propped atop the coffee table. Whatever proverbial stone has made its home at the pit of my stomach automatically flies right out the window at the side of him. But before any exasperation can set in, my attention is taken by the other occupant in the room. Jackie, thank you for the 100 bits. You were right, Jackie. You were right. Isabella perches on the only other chair in the room, attempting to make herself smaller, it seems, from how closely she's hugging her arm against her. Nevertheless, she gives me a small smile when she notices my stare. Yet, somehow, there ain't any warmth in it like it's supposed to have.
Hey, Zach. Sorry we just barged in here. Ash was...
Relax. Z-Man gave me a copy of the key himself.
Only after you broke the 13th one? I can't keep replacing them every time you think it'd be a good idea to break into my apartment. And stop calling me Z-Man!
I didn't break anything this time.
Ash, just because I gave you a key doesn't mean you can just stroll in here whenever you want to. And, hey, is that my...
Ash smirks at me, because of course. He has the gall to smirk knowing what he did. He pops in what's very like the last piece of chip into his mouth, and folds the wrapper neatly on the table before throwing it on the nearby trash. From her chair, Isabella shoots me an apologetic smile as soon as the foil hits the waste bin, with a dull thunk. Common sense dictates that I should be angry. But after everything, this motherfucker ate my last bag of chips! Despite things we've yet to straighten out before it blows up in our faces. Having something normal play out in front of me, no matter how childish their antics can get, I can't bring myself to muster even a tidbit of it. Behind me, the television starts blaring the music for the end credits of a movie. They've likely been waiting for a while if Ash has gotten impatient enough to rummage through my cupboards and watch something.
Of course he eats all of it. You know, I was saving that for the weekend. Did you at least share some with Bella?
Don't worry about it. I'm good.
God, thank you for the 4 bits. Yeah, if he ate my beef jerky, Ash would be dead again.
Really? It's free food, you know. What was that you usually say? You don't say no to free food. What happened?
No, I'm just not hungry.
Ash only shrugs at the question in my eyes. He can't be the only one who finds this vibe she's given off to be odd, and the guy has no doubt already caught wind of it.
Aye. But if you want something, just say so. I've got a fully restocked pantry right here at your disposal. Still not a 5-star level thing, but for an empty stomach, It do. Just say the word.
I want some of that honey ham you served up the other night, 'cause that
Thanks,
sounds
Zach.
great right now.
Maybe next time. Food is not really what we came here for. Ash, he's the one who...
She casts a brief glance at Ash, and in an instant he sits up. Every trace of amusement is gone from his face as he grasps his hand in front of him and leans forward. A minuscule gesture meant to ease, yet the grim expression on him tells a different story altogether.
Alright, you two, what's this about? I don't like those looks. If this has something to do with the other day, I really am sorry about that. It was rude, and I didn't mean for it to come out that way.
A short but tense pause follows. They're both stalling. Under normal circumstances, I'd wait. But these two, the more you force it, the more they'll clamp down on it. But as a handful of seconds continue to slip by, the unsettling feeling in me also grows with it. Soon it turns into impatience. Before I can demand a response, though, one of them finally speaks up. It is Ashton who first breaks it.
No, don't apologize. I should have listened.
How is everything with you lately, Zach?
Hold on, Ash. Both of you.
Did Ash just apologize?
Did I just hear you say that? Is this why Isabella's here? Has something happened?
Calm down, we're just here to check on things. So, did you meet Andrew about the photos?
What photographs?
Fuck. Said photographs have been sitting untouched since the day I dumped them in my drawer. Isabella goes very still when I hand her the small stack. To her credit, she doesn't flinch like I'm expecting her to, and flips through each of it in silence. But while her eyes remain strangely calm, her hands have gotten rigid and her mouth is set into a thin line. She, out of all people, understands what this means. In hindsight, she should have been the one I approached before Ash.
What did Andrew say about them?
It could be one, but there's no guarantee it's a supernatural thing. It doesn't always happen, so that's a dead end right there. Now that I think about it, bothering that guy for this feels pretty silly now. But with the dreams lately...
That's all? Did he say anything about the damn letter at all? Did you ask him even?
I paused, glancing at him skeptically. I don't know where this sudden curiosity is coming from. Yeah, when the fuck did you get interested in this? But if Ashton, calm, cool, collected, always logical Ashton, takes interest in this, something or someone must have fucked shit up somewhere. Or the world is ended. Seconds pass. Apocalypse I'm expecting to go along with doesn't arrive. However...
Yeah, that's really everything. The letter kind of slipped my mind. The photos were more important at that time. There was some stuff about the local horror stories, though. Talked about the curses, and he was really fascinated with the story about a wraith asking for a sacrifice to move on. Kinda nasty if you ask me, but it does make sense if you simply go along with it. I'm not sure how this will help in the grand scheme of things. Why are you asking about this anyway?
Rose's death isn't just a coincidence, Zach.
Oh?
It may have something to do with...
Wait, stop right there for a sec, Bella. I thought you ain't buying this stuff, Ash. Just the other day, you said the exact same thing.
I still don't, but even Rebecca, out of all people, claims there's something.
Oh, when was this?
Whatever this is, someone has got to look into it. Everything about this screams shady.
Are you sure you even have the time? Ain't you busy with your current case?
I got taken off that one.
You didn't say you were taken off your case.
I just got the news this morning. Apparently the higher-ups think I'm doing a horrendous job at it.
Sucks for you!
It doesn't matter though. If these two cases are connected like I initially thought, then regardless, I'm on the right track.
Are you sure we should even be doing this?
Nee says hashtag sacrifice Luke. I'm down.
What exactly?
There's someplace we'll visit after this.
Too vague for comfort, Ash. And please don't tell me you're bringing her with you.
His affirmation comes in the form of a stare, but that alone says all I need to know. What I pointed out gives him a pause, though, and his voice is thick with hesitation when he addresses Isabella.
You know what? Zach's right, Isabella. You don't have to come with me.
It's not myself I'm worried about. It's you. I'll just do this myself, if it'll get you into more trouble with your superiors. At least I can make up an excuse why I need to be there.
Garuk, think of the forfeits.
Don't be ridiculous. You're not walking in there without me. Besides, I think it's a little too late to back out now. Have you two seen the news this morning?
I haven't, actually. Mama called, and I was busy.
The change in the air around her, while small, cannot have gone unnoticed, and it takes every willpower not to ask. Probably the only thing reigning in my curiosity is the fact that Ash himself hasn't brought it up either.
It should be in the afternoon news as well.
Oh! Who's that? He grabs the remote and cycles through numerous channels until it gets to a news report about another guy who's been found dead in the early hours of the morning today. Burned alive this time. Oddly, no fire has spread, and whatever damage has been contained within the place the body was found. The room itself, however, has been completely vandalized. Help me. Help me. Another murder, the authorities claimed. Isabella and I knew better. None of us shifts even after the report ends, but the room was suddenly felt stifling. Ashton's eyes have gone hooded with what appears to be restrained anger, and the remote in his hand creaks mildly under his grip. The stone is back in my stomach. I wonder if Ash thinks this is all something Luke is paying off. Well, I don't know why he would have killed Rose, though. I don't know. A tiny little thing gripping at my insides, growing with every passing second as the dread sinks in. In the thick of it, Isabella's voice is the one that breaks the hush. A small, weak thing on its own that wavers unevenly between words, but every syllable heavy with meaning.
This is because of that thing, isn't it? I did this somehow.
When it fades, all that's left in the air is her doubt and fear, and all we can do is to cope. Is there something I can say to make her feel better?
It ain't too late. We could still fix this. There's 3 of us here.
Stay positive. And we got more reputation stuff with Ashton.
4 if you count Rebecca.
No, she's staying away from this.
That's a good point, Yuki. Although, oh crap, I think I missed something. She lifts her gaze at me, eyes steady and shoulders squared as she holds it against the baffled look I give her. Although in the next second it immediately softens and takes me by surprise nevertheless. In those brief moments, it's like I faced a different person.
I don't want to involve her in this any more than I already have. Both of you as well.
I already said it. That's completely out of the question. Stop asking.
Still in all, that's 2 extra heads who can do the thinking. Between us 3, I'm sure we'll figure something out pretty soon.
Don't make this whole thing sound like it's a piece of cake to deal with.
It ain't. But better than sitting around, yeah? Plan is still a plan.
You're going to shoot yourself in the foot one day with that kind of thinking. We don't even know who's doing this. The last 2 murders might just be similar incidents done by 2 different suspects.
Hasn't stopped you from going after them before. Remember that time when you...
Okay, stop right there. There will be no retelling of that incident today, Z-Man. Or ever.
Wow.
Keep calling me Z-Man and maybe I will.
Suddenly, Isabella laughs. Though muffled by her hands, it rings light and easy against the thick tension in the room. Still a far cry from the usual cheers she carries, but brings a welcome shift in the otherwise dreary mood.
Thanks, you two.
I'll tell you about it when he's not around.
Give it up, Z-Man. She's not interested.
Who says I'm not?
Ash makes a face but chuckles at the jest despite himself.
Why am I even friends with you two?
And like this, most of our worries ebb away, if only for a few moments. They take their leave, mere minutes close to sundown. But regardless of the lighter mood, little has been said of their plans, only vague hints of what they're aiming to do after. I think they're planning on going to the party. While it ain't in my business to know, something about this whole thing still gnaws at me. Tiny passing through thought urges me to do something as well. At this hour, the streets are once again busy with people heading home after a hard day's work. Little of the bustle matters to them as they step out the crowd walkway, however. Ash especially. There's only his goal in his mind, and I wager there's nothing I can do to stop him at this point. He's probably decided on it long before they made a decision to drop by. But despite this, Isabella lags behind. A worried crease is back on her forehead as she watches Ash leave to get to his car.
Something wrong, Bella?
No, Actually, can you check on Becca for me after this? I really didn't get the chance to tell her where I'm headed off to. Tell her I'm okay and we're... No, just that. That's all.
You sure I should skip on that part? If she finds out about this, she'll be angry. I don't really want to deal with angry Rebecca. It gives me a stomachache just thinking about it.
I apologize for my douchebaggy neighbors. Pounding on the walls.
Neither do I, but I'll handle it if she gets mad. Just make sure she's safe and tell her to be careful. You too. Take care of yourself.
Almost abruptly, she pauses. The gaze in her eyes harden as she lapses into another one of those long distance silences from earlier. This ain't just because of the whole fiasco with the letters anymore.
I don't want what happened to Rose to happen to you guys as well.
This one cut deeper. Before I can ask about it, Ashton returns, casually swinging his car keys on one hand and gestures at Isabella.
Come on, we don't have much time. Shirley's waiting.
Who's sure? Oh, right.
Shirley?
Don't answer that. I don't want to hear it, you huge dork.
Says the person who gave her stuffed toys names. Batcat? Really?
It's cute. Yours is just weird. I'll see you later, Zach.
She spares me another smile and I watch her walk off, only now did it occur to me that none of those she gave today had ever reached her eyes. I make a grab for the back of Ash's parka. He staggers briefly, correcting himself and shooting me a confused stare.
Is she alright?
What? Who's okay?
Isabella. She's been... I don't know.
Oh, the car. I forgot about the stupid car. He named his stupid car Shirley. Thank you, chat. I was like, who the fuck is Shirley? What did she mention about Shirley now? Shirley's waiting. His stupid fucking car. God, thank you, chat. You guys are awesome.
Did something happen earlier?
The scowl on his face says it all.
She's actually been like that this morning. I'll ask, but...
Just do me a favor and watch over her. We have no idea what we're dealing with. I don't know what happened to her since the last time I saw her, but from how she's been doing today, whatever it is, seems like a pretty big deal. Wait, you didn't annoy her again, did you? Because I swear to God, if you did, you've got another thing coming for you.
Chibi Sue says, surely you know who Shirley is, Pat. Stop calling me Shirley.
What? No. Why would I? Just so you know, I already apologized for the one at the movie house. Granted, she deserved more of an apology, but I meant it that time.
I'm just asking. I'll take your word for it. But if you can find out what's bothering her, that'd be nice. Honestly, I don't think it's the letter this time.
I'll see what I can do.
Make sure you keep yourself out of harm's way, alright?
Yeah, you too. Don't do anything reckless again.
Reckless, no. But I can't make you to promise I won't do anything. After seeing that, there's no way in hell I'm going to pretend there ain't a problem when there is. This is a really big one, and I'll be damned if I let anything happen to you guys while I sit here. I'm done running when things get tough.
He's about to argue for a moment, but...
Look, bro, if things ain't good, I'll be the first one out. But allow me this one thing, aight? Just this one time. If it doesn't work out, you'll be the first one to know. You can laugh then, or berate me all you want. But please don't ask me to step aside like I'm incapable of doing anything to help.
I have no idea if it is the look on my face or the tone of my voice. Ultimately, although his mouth presses into a thin line, he nods.
All right. Stay safe, Zach.
When he stumbles into the sidewalk and allows the afternoon crowd to swallow him whole, I like to think the tiny gleam in his eyes is the closest we get to optimism in this situation. Whether that alone will be enough to give him a peaceful sleep tonight remains to be said. Just thank the 5 bits. Don't spoil things for me, guys. I don't want to be spoiler. I don't want to spoil this. Night falls, and despite my best attempts, sleep continues to elude me. With her image still stuck in my head, flashing every moment, it catches me off guard. Ma's lullaby still echoing in my ears, no longer the soft tune it once was. And a terrible gnawing at the pit of my stomach. It's no wonder I can't bring myself to drift off even for a little while. It's not as if there's a complete lack of things to do while waiting for sleep to come, if it ever will. And at 2:45 in the morning, I find myself cleaning my photography equipment for no other reason than just to pass the time. Though, if I'm gonna be honest, it's not the night terrors that are keeping me wide awake tonight, but the anxiety and the hope I'll hear from Ash or Isabella soon. And for what's perhaps the 42nd time, my eyes shift over to the end of the table where my phone lies still. I've not heard from them since they left. They haven't promised to call, of course, but a small part of me wishes they would have the common sense at the very least. Waiting is a tough game, and with the concern stretching out the minutes far longer than usual, it's impossible for more unpleasant thoughts to not enter my mind. Moreover, it does not help when the clock finally strikes 3. My hand stills. It'll be complete and utter lie to say my heart didn't leap straight out of my throat in that brief second. My whole body's gone motionless. You're straining for any second sounds. Just whap it! Just like a fly! Just like a really bad fart! Just waft it away! Megan, thank you for 15 bits. A couple of tense seconds pass. Nothing. Of course, with how old the building I'm staying in, power fluctuations ain't anything new. Every now and then, this would happen, leaving a few tenants in a rather bad mood. Nothing unusual anymore after a few years of living here. But this time, the sudden hush brings with it a stillness that raised the hair at the back of my neck and set my heart beating against my chest. Something reeks in the air, and in an instant, this place is no longer home. It's a prison. Every rational fiber in my being screams at me to leave. I force myself to swallow and keep a clear head as I lay down all my cleaning tools and begin gathering together with the rest of my things scattering about on the table. The camera's body, lenses, filters, diffuser, phone, anything my hand could reach, but in the result, panic. Like in the nightmares, it is the scent that reaches me first. A foul, putrid smell filling my lungs with the heavy stink of death. My fingers clamp tightly to the camera, holding it closer to my body as if the tiny thing would provide enough protection to whatever is with me in the room. But it won't. But it's the only comfort I have. And knowing that whoever she is, she had once been human. Perhaps not all of it is gone. Perhaps some of it is still there.
Hello? I know you're in here. What do you want?
Something moves behind me. A soft scuffling over the walls, followed by the squelch and a painful creaking of what can only be rotten flesh and broken bones. Without hesitation, I whirl around, my fingers and camera ready, patient, waitingly for another movement.
I can help you. Whatever it is that keeps you here, I can help. That's what the letter's for, ain't it? You don't have to keep taking people's lives.
There's a brief moment of silence after. And for a short while, I think my pleas worked. Then, with no warning, the shuffling resumes, and along with it are the sobs of a woman. Use the mouse to look around. Oh, son of an actual fucking fuckbag tits! Ah! The light flashes, fleeting one last time, allowing me a glimpse of her grotesque, misshapen features before it is once again lost in the darkness. All of a sudden, her tune changes, no longer a soft cry, but a high-pitched shriek, brimming with pain, grief, and anger. Every ounce of courage I mustered flees from my body at the sound, and the next thing I know, my hand is gripping the knob and I'm wrenching the door open. Her wails follow me as I flee into the night. Pacing has always been more of Ashton's thing than mine. When I want to think, I sit and let the minutes tick by until an idea comes to mind or my pulse settles down. And yet dried leaves and twigs crack under my shoes as I make another pass at them. Terror is too mild to describe what this is. There's no way in hell I'm going back. Whatever she is, pleading won't work. The moment we saw that letter, she's been after us.
I can't run. Not this time.
Nearly 2 hours have gone by since I left the comfort of my room for the solitude of the park. 2 excruciating hours since I've started making calls. No one's answering. Not even Rebecca, who always keeps her phone line open in case other people need her. Or Isabella, who frequently checks hers for any messages and readily responds as soon as she can afford. It does not help that Ash hasn't said a word where he went off to as well.
Damn it! I knew I should have asked him before I let him leave.
Knowing him, he can be anywhere. But there's really only one place he'll likely be at this time. The sun has already peeked over the horizon when I make it to the mansion. I have no idea what I'm expecting to see when I got here. There's Ashton, first and foremost. Part of me wishes my assumptions are correct and he's really somewhere close by on a stakeout. But I've never been that lucky sort when it comes to that kind of guessing. And even after I've made a round of immediate vicinity, I could find neither hide nor hair of him. Calling him does no good. Either, considering how awful the signal here is, he can't be too far if he's really here. But if he is, he could have already noticed me by now. Instead, there's only silence. That kind, too, quiet to find any sort of comfort in. Even the trees seem to have fallen asleep with the rest of the mansion. Oblivious to what's happening around it, a small island of stillness in the otherwise fast-paced world. No wonder the whole of Anslem feels at odds with the rest of Luxborn. While the city is alive, growing every minute, breathing every second, and pulsating with life, the village remains unmoving, unchanged. It's not surprising the legend still lives up to this day, and why she's still here. walking its hollowed halls. And beyond me, the mansion looms ominously. But now ain't that the time for fear. Even if Ash is not here, I've still got to let the Wrights know what I've seen, what's in their home. And whatever grievance Ash has with them, doesn't matter. There might be grounds for imprisonment, but they don't deserve a brutal death at the hand of one malicious spirit. And I'm sure Isabella would want the same thing. I head straight for the door without a second thought. Takes a few rings. The sound loud above the foreboding stillness before I hear footsteps on the other side.
Only a Nazi would knock at such an ungodly hour.
Oh, God.
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
Before long, the door swings widely open with Mr. Luke Wright standing behind it. Seething would be a complete understatement to describe him. Like this, I've got no doubt why Ash would find him a suspect.
You? How the hell did you get in here? What in seven hells do you want? It's bloody 6 in the morning!
You're usually up.
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time. Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't. Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep. Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
Before I can get a word in, he slams the door to my face and bolts it shut with much finality.
Wait, sir, you gotta hear me out. You're both in danger if you stay in there.
I think that's far past it's already happened. He was in shadows, dude. He had a void around him.
Have you seen the news lately? Everything's not a coincidence.
Josh, thank you for the 10 bits, by the way. I forgot to thank you for the bits, and Post, thank you for the bit 8 minutes ago as well. Only silence answers me. Maybe if it was Miss Wright. No, who the hell am I kidding? There are limits to how far a person will believe in you. And again, I didn't believe Isabella when she warned us. Now I'm here, desperately trying to save people, even if I'm aware it's completely out of my own capacity to do so. Is this what they call karma? If so, this is one horrible way of turning things around. Taking people's lives, playing with people's fears, making them feel useless.
You're around, ain't you? You here? Inside this house? Listening, watching, or whatever it is that you spirits do? What did they do to you? I can help you, you know? If it'll let you move on, I'll gladly do so. You don't have to kill anyone.
Nothing. I don't even know who I'm talking to, or if a sane person is supposed to be doing that. The only thing I got after is a feeling of foolishness washing over me. Or perhaps this is just me losing my mind. Out of other options and any other ideas, I let my hands slide off the door surface and fall listlessly to my sides. Zachary looks like Lucio. It's Lucio's brother. I can go back to Luxborn. Try to find the others. Try to get out of this mess with them. Or let them know how much in deep shit we all are. Both sound good. Either way, my lord in here ain't helping at all. I'll let the quietness calm me for a few more minutes before standing up and heading out to fetch my bike. It's quite a distance to Luxborn, but if I hurry, I'll reach it in time. Maybe. The rustling stops as soon as I turn around.
Thank you for subscribing.
Ravenstone, thank you for the 2 months, dude. I appreciate the 2 months support. The rustling stops as soon as I turn around and strain my ears from any other movement around me.
Yo, Ash, you there?
No answer. If he is here, and I've just missed him earlier, already my feet is moving in search for him the second time. It won't hurt to double check. Triple check even. With how big the property is, he can be anywhere. If things aren't so urgent, things so dire that lives are at stake, I'd probably just have to wait for him to show up again. And of course, toxic. You guys are more than likely to. I just might close chat because I don't want spoilers.
Damn it! He needs to realize what exactly it is he's dealing with.
Do you know exactly what you're dealing with? That is not just a petty criminal he can simply throw in jail. That is something beyond the authority his police badge could ever give him. The guy needs to stop playing the big damn hero, sit down and chill. Gosh! Dang it. My breathing comes in short, shallow and rasped by the time I make it back where I started. Still no sign of him, and I'm beginning to think I'm just wasting my time here. But that's when I hear it. I'd recognize that melody in a heartbeat. Fuck that. I'm out. Ma's favorite song. Listen for a while, trying to gauge where exactly from the house it's coming from. My feet start moving before I can stop them. And there, as I circle a corner, from a room in the first floor, a single window is open, but I can't make out whoever's inside. However, I'm sure the singing comes from there. Still, why hear an old tune here of all places? I wouldn't know. Lethal Weapon, thank you for the 50 bits. It's not an obscure song by all means, but it's pretty rare to find someone who knows this. And for some reason, death seems to follow this song around. Panic lodges itself at the base of my throat at once. Whoever's humming might be... I don't want to be pessimist now, but on the off chance that it is Miss Wright.
Shit.
I shouldn't just barge in there. I can put myself in danger before I can save anyone. Ash will tell me so in the exact same words. Might even write me a dissertation of why this is a bad idea if he ain't so lazy. Damn it, damn it, damn it, god fucking damn it. Chat, what are we gonna do? We can keep looking for Ash or enter the open window. I've saved so we could do both, but a lot of people said go look for Ash. In the window we go! I can search for Ash, but what if it's too late by then? With how big this place is, he could be anywhere. It's very likely by the time we come back, someone's already bit the dust. That and the cries grow louder against my ear the longer I linger. Almost impossible to ignore, drawing me in like a moth to a flame. For a moment, I let myself shudder. Shaking the uneasy feeling off my head. This can't be a good idea. Not by a long shot. Still, I've got to try. Funnily enough, for a couple as high profiles as the Wrights, they don't seem to have any security detail patrolling around. A few guards here and there. Sure, but one will expect why they'll have more considering the size of the place. Works to my advantage though, as I can't really complain when there's a high chance I might get arrested for what I'm about to do. Luckily, the window's wide enough for me to fit through without making any noise. There's certainly no going back now. Oh, fuck. Breaking and entering. As soon as I step into the parlor, all of it ceases. While I find no trace of the woman I heard crying like I'm expecting to. The room is still empty at this time of the morning, and I'm left standing awkwardly in the middle of the hush. Amelia, thank you for 10 bits. Hope everything's okay, Amelia. The room is still empty at this time of the morning, at the middle of the hush. Maybe she just hid somewhere.
Hello? Are you here? I heard someone earlier, and I'm here to help.
Hoping for an answer, I let the question hang in the air. Several seconds merely go by without a word or the slightest movement to indicate that there is someone in here. Has been here. With the stories I've heard, the things I've seen, it takes effort to keep my brain from going into that line of thought.
I'm not going to hurt you. If you're here, say something.
Nothing. Am I just hearing things? No, I'm pretty sure I heard someone. But with no responding, I can't help but feel silly like this. And the awareness that I've just trespassed onto a house for something because of some voice prickles at me. Suddenly the silence feels uncomfortable and needling anxiety slowly creeps up my back. I should get out while I can. If it ain't there, it ain't there. I'll spare the room another glance while I walk back the way I came. Out into the window, leave before someone else notices.
I thought I heard a servant moving around here. Turns out it's just a rat scurrying about.
Oh, great.
How unpleasant.
My heart shoots up into my throat. I can run. The window's a few steps away. I should be able to escape, but instead, out of some foolish impulse, I turn around. Perhaps it's because the only impression the guy has left of me is the few times we met, and it's nothing but unsettling.
This ain't what you think it is.
You're quite the distance from the kitchen, I'm afraid.
Kitchen?
Perhaps I should lead you there.
Someone's in here before me. I wasn't here for what you're thinking. There was sobbing and...
Ow! The first blow knocks the wind out of me, sending me heaving and crumpling to my knees. Tears well up in my eyes as the pain swells when he twists my wrist behind my back.
You've got to listen to me.
Then again, dirty thieves aren't welcome in my kitchen either.
Ow! Okay, I don't like where this is going. So let's keep looking for Ash. Can't even break into houses these days. Yeah, we're just... Fuck you, Hansi. Let's just go look for Ash. That's what everybody in chat wanted me to do anyway, so... Johannes is a damn badass. You don't fuck with Johannes. Might have turned it around. I don't know. In the end, the rational part of my brain wins out. That half that has spent too much time around Ash. It's right though, the reasonable part. Me, I wouldn't have gone in there anyway. If I were to play this as a regular playthrough, I would have minded my own business and just went to go look for Zat instead of breaking in. If I do force my way in and find something unpleasant, how am I going to fight back? My camera? No matter where you look at it, simply asking for a painful death.
I have a better chance if I find Ash. What is he snooping about?
Perhaps let's try the forest, make a round farther into the gardens. Not a sound plan, but it's better than nothing. Plus, why would you want to go into the haunted fucking house? The woman's soft sobs have subsided now, by some means. Almost inaudible to the point where I'm wondering if I truly heard what I heard. I didn't get to dwell much on it though, because right in the moment my phone rings. The sharp notes cutting, piercing through the thick quietude. Clamp a hand over it, pressing the button before the speakers are close to my ear. I only caught the tail end of the person greeting on the other side, but I know the voice well enough.
What was that, Ash? Could you repeat that? Signal shitty here.
I asked, where are you? Hell, Zach, I've been calling your number for a good 20 minutes now. What kind of shithole did you get into?
Good morning to you, too. I should be asking you that question. I've been looking all over the mansion for you. I thought you'd be...
What mansion?
Do I really need to answer that?
Why are you even... No, wait. Just get your ass here at Isabella's place, and hurry.
I shift my gaze into the mansion, specifically at the window I heard the cries from. There's nothing of it now, not even echoes.
How urgent is this?
Pressing enough for you to stop asking questions and get yourself here. Please, Zach.
That gives me a pause. It's a rare thing for him to take on that tone.
I'll be here in a few. An hour or two, tops.
Thanks. I'll see you.
I rush back to my bike as soon as the call ends. Without another look, I leave the mansion along with its haunting melodies and grim echoes behind. There are more important things than my own curiosity and impulses. And just like that, we move to Marianne. So we can always go back to Zach, Hannah, and Isabella and do different things, but... Oh wow, I've got a lot of saves. Holy shit. Alright. Well, before we go any further, chat. Yeah, every chapter's been a really bad cliffhanger, but we're on chapter 4 as of right now. And, I hope... Can only hope you guys are enjoying it. Did I unlock a lot of things with this? Oh, there is a lot more I didn't unlock. Holy shit. Wow. So that's the one thing, is I'm gonna want to go back and freaking unlock a bunch of these. Ah. Anywho. I think we're gonna call it here. Mainly because I'm enjoying this so much and I want to do at least one chapter at a time. As I'm having a lot of this. How about no cliffhanger and we keep going? No. I think we good. I think